Chapter 1000. Wow! As soon as the old man said that, the impatient crowd instantly calmed down. At this moment, the whole place was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard clearly. One could imagine how quiet the place was. Not for anything else, but for the 30% discount that the old man had mentioned. Although the East Arrival Pavilion wasn't that famous, there was one thing that everyone couldn't deny, and that was that the East Arrival Pavilion was extremely powerful. Any random auction item that they brought out could be compared to those powerful and reputable auction houses. Some of the items that were usually sold in Donlai Pavilion were very rare. So, how could they not be excited when they knew that other than the auction items, there was a 30% discount? However, Lin Ray didn't know about this. After all, he wasn't from Yin City, so he didn't know about the Donlai Pavilion's background. In his opinion, the only thing that was worth his attention today was the rumored surviving species from the Chaos era. He wanted to see what kind of surviving species could be captured and auctioned. If the gods of the Chaos era knew about this, they would be furious. Thinking back to how powerful the Desolate era was back then, any random demonic beast would be in existence at the peak of the current divine world. And now, the Desolate era's descendants were actually put up for auction. Although they were not of the same race, what would the Desolate era's creatures think when they found out about this? This was a slap to their faces. As a strong person, dignity and face were more important than life. Turning his head, he looked at the two ladies with a doting expression and said, immediately, "Wait for me to see the surviving species of the Chaos era. Then we will leave. After all, we are already here. How can we not see it?" Looking at their husband's interested face, the two ladies couldn't bear to disturb him. In the end, they could only endure the helplessness in their hearts and nodded. "All right, since that's the case, let's take a look." But at this moment, Ing raised her voice and said in a commanding tone, "You said it. We can only see the surviving species of the Chaos era. After that, we will leave." "Hee hee, you can't go back on your word." "Yes, yes." Seeing that his wife had agreed, Lin Ray quickly nodded and reached out his hand to touch the tip of Ying's nose. "I knew Ing was the best. I'll listen to you. I'll just take a look and leave." After saying that, Lin Ray looked away from Ing and looked at the elder on the platform, waiting for the arrival of the surviving species of untainted land with anticipation. TSK, why do I always feel that something is wrong? Looking at the stage, Lin Ray always felt a little strange, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. Forget it. Let's wait and see. As for the danger, Lin Ray no longer cared about the word danger. He could kill Dao Fruit Saints at the Divine Venerate realm. Now that he was a Dao Fruit Saint, he was not afraid of danger at all. Moreover, he didn't believe that there was an existence in the God realm that could threaten him. At this moment, the old man on the stage saw that the crowd had quieted down. He smiled and said, "All right, since everyone is giving face to the Donlai Pavilion, let's not waste any more time. Let the auction begin." It should have started a long time ago. Yeah, how long has it been? Quickly take it out and show it to everyone. Yeah, Lao Ding, quickly take it out and see what it is. I can't wait. At this moment, the crowd below was in an uproar. However, Lao Ding didn't say anything to the crowd. Instead, he continued to act like an elder every year. All right, since everyone is looking forward to it, let's welcome the first auction item today. With that, an attendant walked out from the back. He was neither fast nor slow. At a glance, one could tell that he had been trained because his hand was holding the plate was not slow at all. Moreover, Lin Ray felt that the attendant's cultivation was very high. He was already in the Divine Emperor realm. However, this scene made Lin Ray even more interested. One had to know that a Divine Emperor was holding a plate. If this were to spread in the God realm, it would be amazing. The attendant carried the plate to Lao Ding and stood there without saying anything. He lowered his head and looked at the ground. Lao Ding didn't care about the attendant's expression at all. He stretched out his hand and lifted the black cloth directly. An exquisite bracelet appeared on the plate. It's a top-grade divine tool. Not bad. It's a spatial magic weapon condensed from space stone. Looking at the exquisite bracelet, Lin Ray saw through its structure at a glance. Tut-tut, it's good. If it could be forged with time or real spatial magic, I'm afraid that the quality of this bracelet would be upgraded to the level of a divine tool. Moreover, there would be a lot more hongming. It wouldn't be like now, just a storage bracelet that can be used to store things. It's so beautiful. A surprised voice came from his side. Lin Rei was very familiar with this voice. It was only his wife, Ying. Turning his head, he saw that Ying's expression was like some sparkling stars. Her eyes were fixed on the bracelet on the table. This scene stunned Lin Rei. Thinking back to what Ying had said before, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. You said you wouldn't let me look at other things. Aren't you the same now? Although he said that, Lin Rei didn't have the impulse to buy the bracelet. As a divine tool master who had already become a divine tool master, how could he buy a shoddy divine tool just because it looked good? 5 million mid-grade divine crystals. Emperor wants this thing. Suddenly, Lin Rei spoke. Everyone's eyes gathered on Lin Rei and the other two in the corner. Lin Rei couldn't be bothered to pay attention to everyone's gazes. Originally, he didn't want to buy it, but when he saw the anticipation in his wife's eyes, he couldn't refuse. In the end, he could only brace himself and say it. Regarding Lin Rei's sudden words, the crowd only had one thought. Is this guy an idiot? He didn't even bid for the bracelet, and he dares to bid? What if his bid isn't as high as the bidding price? It'll be a loss of face. Seeing the strange scene below, Lao Ding chuckled mischievously and hurriedly tried to smooth things over. That, fellow Taoist, are you sure you want to bid 5 million mid-gray divine crystals for this bracelet? That's right. Is there a problem? No, but it's an auction after all, so we have to follow the rules. So I'm sorry. Lin Rei was speechless when he heard Lao Ding's words. You can just follow the rules. Why do you have to say so much to me? Seriously, he didn't say anything else. As for Ying, she was very happy to see her husband throw away so much money for her. Regardless of whether she succeeded or not, she was very happy. The purple gold illusory spirit bracelet was a supreme grade divine artifact. Its function was to store things. How about this? Our starting bid is the command token. Every bid must be at least 100,000 mid-grade divine crystals. Now let the bidding begin. Bang! The hammer in Old Ding's hand hit the ground, and the price started to be called out. 700,000. 900,000. Sneer. 1,500,000. Bit by bit, the bidding price began to rise. However, this trend soon disappeared. In the end, the final bidder was a woman. She bid 3,800,000. However, Lin Rei didn't say anything about this. He didn't even look at her. He directly said, "It's still 5 million. If you all feel that there's someone who can bid higher than Emperor, feel free to bid." After saying that, Lin Rei swept his gaze across the crowd. In front of me, unless you have more divine crystals than me, everything else is useless. Boom! The crowd burst into an uproar. They couldn't compare to someone who could use 5 million mid-grade divine crystals to purchase a storage bracelet. 5 million wasn't a small amount. For a bracelet, the crowd felt that 5 million wasn't worth it. At the very least, that was what they felt. However, it was different for Lin Rei. He felt that it was extremely worth it. For the sake of winning a smile from a beauty, not to mention 5 million, even 50 million would be worth it. At this moment, the crowd shut their mouths. The crowd began to discuss among themselves. Lao Ding seemed to have already known that this would be the result. Seeing that the crowd didn't respond, Lao Ding promptly said, 5 million going once. 5 million going twice. After saying that, he took a glance at Lin Rei. Then he continued, 5 million going thrice. Bang! The hammer was struck. There was no room for regret. At this moment, the crowd understood that the bracelet was Lin Rei's. Congratulations, fellow Taoist, for getting off to a good start. Since that's the case, let's continue. After that, Lin Rei didn't bid. It wasn't that the items here weren't good. It was just that he already had the best items. Thus, he wasn't interested in these ordinary items. Of course, it was undeniable that there were many good items among the items that Lin Rei didn't bid for. However, he wasn't interested in any of them. The only thing he was interested in was the so-called untainted ancient species. Time passed bit by bit. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. The auction had reached its climax. The scene was becoming more and more intense. Lin Ray was like a bystander when he saw this scene. He sat at the side and watched this scene quietly. As for Ying, she was also touching the table in her hand. She seemed to like it very much. Her hands didn't leave the table for even a moment. Lin Ray ignored this and continued to stare at the stage. Finally, a day had passed. At this moment, the auction had entered its final stage. Seeing everyone rubbing their fists, a trace of disdain flashed through Lin Ray's eyes. It's getting more and more interesting. I hope this matter isn't a lie. Otherwise, Lin Ray will be very angry. On the stage, a smile appeared on Lao Ding's face. Perhaps it was because he had gained too much today and was too happy, but the smile on his face was even wrinkled. Today's auction has entered its final round. Now, the next item will also be the last item of today's auction. I'm sure it's what everyone is most concerned about. As he spoke, he didn't forget to look at the crowd below. The smile on his face never disappeared. Stop wasting time. Hurry up and take it out. At this moment, an extremely discordant voice sounded out. However, no one refuted this because the young man's words were exactly what they wanted to say, but didn't dare to say. Looks like someone can't wait any longer. Looking at the young man, Lao Ding smiled and continued. All right, since it's like this, let's put the last item on the stage. Name, Lin Ray. Age, 3, 793 system level. For cultivation, Dao Fruit Saint, initial stage, experience. Divine Dragon 300100 Divine Dragon, spiritual roots. Lightning, fire, wood, metal, chaos, spiritual roots talent. Dao Fruit Saint, perfection, cultivation method. Primal chaos scripture level 4, incomplete. Devouring heavenly technique, growable. Primordial pill refinement, entry cultivation method. Cloud formula, emperor level cultivation method. Same formation, emperor level cultivation method. Tyrant body technique, emperor level cultivation method. Thunder tyrant body, emperor level cultivation method. Lightning scripture, divine level cultivation method. Martial technique, butterfly steps, entry level. Stellar finger, proficient. Silent thunder spear art. High mystic martial technique, now cultivated to entry level. Can produce 3 lightning bolts. Myriad sword art, heaven rank. Level 3 incineration. Emperor level, dragon subduing step. Emperor level, Shura spear art, king level. Shura sword formation, king level. Divine transformation. Emperor level, color glaze, lower saint level. Thousand illusions, lower saint level. Spiritual treasure, chaotic dragon spear, supreme grade divine artifact. Martial emperor divine spear, lower divine artifact, growable. 10,000 magic sword, ungraded. Myriad beast treasure furnace, heavenly temple. Upper grade immortal artifact, worldly Huayu. Lower saint level, demon subduing sword. Lower saint level, Chinquin cauldron. Lower saint level, equipment. Flowing light supreme grade divine artifact set mount. Middle stage supreme god, 1 chance to subdue. Lottery roulette. 0 character lottery system. 0 times reputation. 0 redemption points. 340, 000 spiritual stones. 0 lower saint alchemist. 1824 divine dragon. 10,000 divine dragon, Saint Array master. 134 divine dragon. 10,000 dragon, saint weapon forger. 1536 divine dragon. 10,000 divine dragon, saint talisman master. 186 divine dragon. 10,000, top elixir. None heaven and earth. Treasure, none mission, main mission. Enter the holy realm within 1,000 years. Side mission, refine the Tower of Babel. No time limit. Elixir, 11 mind control pills, 5639 mind control pills. Just as Lin Ray was about to take a closer look, his vision suddenly turned black. When the light appeared again, it was his own information. Looking at the information that suddenly appeared, Lin Ray was stunned. What the F***CK is going on? Looking at his own information, Lin Ray was stunned. What the F***CK, what's going on? CMA sneered. Looking at Lin Ray's confused look, the little dragon appeared in front of Lin Ray and said, "Don't worry, it's nothing." The system just notified you that you have a chance to subdue one of your battle pets. A chance to subdue one of my battle pets? Looking at the little dragon, Lin Ray repeated. It had been a long time since this happened to his battle pets. Ever since he got Crimson Flame, it never happened again. Yes, subduing a battle pet. The little dragon nodded. Ding found a strong vitality. As for whether to investigate, Ding mission accept. Subdue a battle pet. If it is not completed in a short time, the system will continue to reward. What the F***, CK? This is a naked kidnapping. Hearing the system prompt, Linley was stunned for a moment. Faced with this sudden quest, Linley hurriedly nodded. All right, since that's the case, I accept. Ding, congratulations to the host for accepting the mission. Next, the system will monitor the host's shadow 360 degrees without any blind spots until the mission is completed and submitted. Still monitor? This time, Lin Ray's face flashed with displeasure. For the system to monitor, Lin Ray didn't expect at all, but now it was too late to regret. He had already agreed. In the end, Lin Ray silently ended the conversation. He didn't want to say anything. He was afraid of being angered to death. Chapter 1001. He didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. Lin Ray could only agree with the system's monitoring. After all, he had accepted the task. If he rejected the task, he didn't know what would happen. Forget it. He shook his head fiercely, as if he wanted to throw away all those troublesome things. Looking up at the stage, Lin Ray vaguely felt that under the black cloth, a heartbeat was faintly echoing throughout the Donglai Pavilion. Yes, it's the heartbeat. No, this heartbeat couldn't be the sound of a captured beast. Well, what was going on? Vaguely, Lin Ray felt that something was wrong. Generally speaking, captured beasts would have all their abilities to move sealed. Even their heartbeat would become extremely weak. Yes, although the heartbeat Linley had just heard was very weak, this weak heartbeat gave Linley a feeling of strength amidst its wretchedness. This didn't seem like the heartbeat of a captured demonic beast at all. Feeling that something was wrong, Lin Ray turned his head with vigilance and reminded his wife, "Be careful later. There may be trouble here." Huh? Trouble? Hearing Lin Ray's sudden words, Ing and Bing were stunned. Their faces were full of doubts. Yes, trouble. Let's not talk about other things first. Just be careful later. Remember, no matter what happens, stay by my side. As long as you stay by my side, you will be safe. Do you hear me? Unknowingly, a handful of dog food was thrown out without warning. This made Ing and Bing blush and nod repeatedly. Yes, I know. Well, that's good. Seeing the two women nod in agreement, Linley relaxed. His gaze once more focused on the black cloth on the stage. What lay beneath the black cloth? Lin Ray's heart was filled with curiosity. Ding, found a pet that can be subdued. Does the system want to subdue it? What the hell? Subdue a pet? The sudden notification made Lin Ray a little confused, but when he looked at the black cloth, he instantly understood and nodded. Yes. Lin Ray didn't really want to subdue them. He just didn't want to be monitored by the system. Moreover, if he didn't subdue it as soon as possible, he was afraid that the system would cause some trouble in the future. By then, it would be too late for regrets. Ding! Taming mission activated. The host has 6 hours to tame the battle pet, otherwise. Bear the consequences yourself. F***CK. Hearing the system's words, Linley couldn't help but curse. His face suddenly changed. Just as he had thought, the system was up to something again. Attention! Pay attention to where the host is. If you attack the system verbally, you will be responsible for the consequences. Lin Ray didn't say anything else. As the saying goes, the more you say, the more mistakes you make. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold himself back and would say what was on his mind. He didn't spout nonsense in his own system because time was limited. He stared at the black cloth, waiting for the moment the black cloth was lifted. He would make his move. On the stage, Lao Ding looked at the confused eyes of the people below. A mysterious smile appeared on his face. He then said, "Okay, this is the last item of this auction." At the same time, It is also the untainted ancient species that everyone has been talking about. What I want to say is that you guys guessed right. This thing is indeed an untainted ancient species, and it is an extraordinary existence. As soon as he said that, a huge uproar was set off in the hall. A wave of discussion was completely set off. Then lift the cloth and let us see. Yeah, Lao Ding, can you not be so slow? Hurry up and lift the black cloth. Lift it. Lift it. One by one, the voices were heard. In the end, everyone's voices came to the same channel. The voices were like a tidal wave, surging and surging, causing one's soul to tremble. Looking at the actions of the people below, Lao Ding smiled even more. At this moment, the people in front of him were no longer the fellow Taoists that he spoke of. At this moment, in his eyes, these fellow Taoists had become sparkling golden divine crystals. And this was the effect that he wanted. Only this way, his item would be more valuable, and only this way, his item would be more expensive. After calculating the time, Lao Ding knew that the time had come. He immediately waved his hand and said loudly, "Everyone, since you want to see it so much, I will not neglect your face." He turned around and looked at the attendant behind him. He nodded and said, "Next, let's lift the mysterious black cloth." Wow, the hall was in an uproar again. Another wave of discussion surged. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement and enthusiasm. "Open, open, open," they all said in unison. They all wanted to see that thing immediately. In this situation, they were just short of rushing in. With a swoosh, the black cloth was lifted. A small dog appeared in front of everyone. TCH, when everyone saw the original appearance of the thing under the black cloth, a wave of jealousy surged up from the bottom of their hearts. This is a freaking ancient remnant species. Does this mean that you are the guard dog in my backyard? Looking at this dog-shaped ancient remnant species, everyone's original interest and excitement completely disappeared at this moment. At this moment, a middle-aged man who seemed to have a lot of strength stood up. He looked at the dog on the stage and glared at Lao Ding. He opened his mouth and scolded. "What are you trying to do? Is it fun to play with us? Don't think that just because your Donglai pavilion is powerful, I won't dare to touch you. Do you know the consequences of provoking a first-rate power in Yen City?" A series of threatening words appeared. In the next moment, one person opened his mouth and spoke one after another. "Lao Ding, what is your Donglai pavilion trying to do? Playing with so many of us like this. Do you know that you're trying to incite public anger?" In an instant, threatening words appeared one after another. On the stage, Lao Ding, who was originally full of smiles, instantly collapsed. The aura on his body also turned from gentle to cold. His cold eyes swept across the crowd below. He then scolded coldly. "Are you all crazy? You are right. Although my Donglai pavilion is not powerful, it is not necessary for you all to do this because it is a waste of time. I told you before that this thing is indeed an ancient remnant species. Naturally, it is not fake. Who do you think has the time to play with you all? This old man's time is very precious." With one sentence, everyone present was stunned. Lao Ding, who had always been gentle, had now become a person that everyone did not recognize. However, at this moment, no one noticed that when Lin Ray, who was sitting in the corner, saw the black dog's words the moment the black cloth was lifted, a terrifying pressure swarmed towards Lin Ray like an emperor descending. This pressure, feeling the pressure from the aura of death, Lin Ray's body trembled and he took a step back. "What's wrong, husband?" On the side, Ing noticed her husband's reaction. She hurriedly stepped forward to support Lin Ray and asked with concern, What a terrifying pressure, as if it came from hell. The aura of death made my divine soul tremble." Lin Ray did not have the chance to answer Ying's question and secretly muttered to himself. The scene was extremely tense, especially Lin Ray. Looking at the big black dog, he knew that things were definitely not simple. "TSK, I didn't expect the devourer to be arrested. Haha, if this news spreads, I'm afraid those old guys in the Hongmeng realm will go crazy." "What? Devourer?" Just as Lin Ray was panicking, he heard the little dragon's voice in his head. From the little dragon's words, Lin Ray extracted some important information. Yes, Devourer, a kind of existence that only exists in legends. They are very powerful and could devour the sky and the earth. No one dares to provoke them, especially their race. If their race were to know that one of their kind was locked in a cage, I'm afraid the entire divinity would be turned into nothingness. Then the system asked me to tame a battle pet. Do you think I can tame such a horrifying thing? Lin Ray knew that he had no way to deal with this kind of existence. Besides, when encountering something of this level, what were you thinking about instead of running away? Seeing that Lin Ray was so timid, the little dragon snorted and a glint of disappointment flashed across its face. Since the system asked you to tame it, it means that the system believes you can do it. Otherwise, the system wouldn't have given you a task so casually. Look at you. You haven't even started. What's wrong? Scared? After being scolded by the system, Lin Ray's face turned red. As a man, as a strong person, how could he admit that he was scared? Lin Ray, of course, shook his head and refuted. Scared? What a joke. The Emperor is a saint with the supreme physique of Hongming. Do you think that I, who is so strong and has so many advantages, will be afraid of a demon beast? Lin Ray said while his heart was beating like a drum. His back was already soaked in sweat. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't scared. The other party was a devourer, the strongest and most mysterious race in Hongming. How could Lin Ray compare to it? TSK, I'm too lazy to care about you. As the little dragon attached to the system, it was very clear about Lin Ray's inner voice and thoughts. Regarding this point, the little dragon was too lazy to care about it. Looking up at the devourer lying in the cage, the devourer was currently in the appearance of a black dog. His appearance was very ordinary. Perhaps if he was thrown into a pack of dogs, no one would think that he was one of the most mysterious species in Hongming. At this moment, the black dog seemed to have sensed Linley's gaze. Its expression froze for a moment before it opened its languid eyelids and met Linley's gaze. A strange look appeared in its eyes before it closed them again and returned to its usual calmness. However, facing the devourer's gaze, Lin Ray felt uncomfortable. When Lin Ray looked at the devourer, he felt that his soul was being devoured by some kind of power, as if it would break out of his body at any time. In just an instant, it gave Lin Ray such a feeling. This made Lin Ray dumbfounded. F*CK. How the F*CK am I supposed to subdue this? Just one look and it's so strong. How am I supposed to subdue it? He roared in his heart, but there was no expression on his face. He didn't want the little dragon to look down on him. However, he forgot that the little dragon could hear his thoughts. In the audience, the scene was very quiet. Everyone was listening to Lao Ding's words. Everyone knew about the change in Lao Ding. Maybe they didn't really know this Lao Ding from the Donglai Pavilion before. On the stage, seeing that the audience was quiet, Lao Ding recovered his gentleness. He smiled and said, "Okay, actually, don't look at the appearance. This kind of power is very strong. Even if you use a divine weapon, you won't be able to do any damage to it." Perhaps to make everyone believe and pay, Lao Ding took out a supreme-grade divine weapon and let everyone verify the authenticity of the sword. After everyone verified it, he turned to the devourer and used all his cultivation. He poured his cultivation into the sword and blasted it at the devourer. F*CK, is this for real? Yeah, don't kill him in one go. Seeing Lao Ding's actions, everyone couldn't help but close their eyes. They didn't want to watch. However, some people were excited. It wasn't because they knew the identity of the black dog, but because they had already imagined the bloody scene in their minds. Bang clang. The sound of metal colliding rang in the Donglai Pavilion. Lao Ding waved the sword and stabbed the devourer's abdomen. However, the bloody scene in the audience's minds didn't appear. Instead, in the eyes of the crowd, they saw an expression of utter disbelief. The moment the sword stabbed the devourer, it stopped abruptly and couldn't go any further. At this moment, the scene became extremely quiet. Their expressions were filled with fear as they looked at this scene. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Did you see that? Seeing everyone's reaction, Lao Ding knew that the result he wanted had appeared. I'm not lying to everyone, but I'm telling the truth. This demonic beast is indeed an untainted ancient species. Lao Ding was now waiting for the fish to take the bait. However, other than Lin Rei, the others didn't notice one thing. It wasn't anything else. After the devourer felt Lao Ding's provocation, a murderous intent flashed. Although it was only for a moment and the devourer hit it perfectly, he still couldn't escape Lin Rei's eyes. "Ha, ignorant!" Looking at the crowd, Lin Rei sneered. His expression was filled with cruelty. He knew that if this continued, the devourer would sooner or later go on a killing spree. Although he didn't understand why the devourer was captured, he knew that the dignity of an expert couldn't be trampled on, even if the devourer was a demonic beast. Now let's start. The starting price for the untainted ancient species is 30 million high-grade divine crystals. Each bid must not be less than 5 million. Let's start the auction. The highest bidder wins. 30 million? Why don't you just rob? At this moment, the crowd couldn't remain calm. 30 million was a huge sum for a sect. Even if you were a first-grade sect, it would be very difficult to take out 30 million. 35 million. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence of the scene. The shocking number of 35 million appeared, and the scene instantly exploded. Who? Who is it? How can he be so powerful? 35 million? Which sect is this? Yeah, who is it? Can you come out and meet us? Hey, fellow Taoist who bid 35 million. I wonder if your sect still needs to recruit new members? Let me introduce myself. I'm a monarch god, and I'm very powerful. I wonder if, piss off, you still have a nerve to say that? Who would want someone like you who would jump ship as long as they give you some money? At this moment, the crowd began to clamor. At this moment, everyone's gaze was no longer on the devourer on the stage. Instead, it was on the person who bid 35 million high-grade divine crystals. Chapter 1002. Lao Ding's expression darkened when he saw that the momentum he had started had been completely disrupted by the person who had just placed a bid. However, Lao Ding could not do anything because of the situation. In the end, he could only chuckle as he looked at Lin Rei in the corner. However, the person who had placed a bid of 35 million was naturally Lin Rei. Although he was a little afraid of the devourer, he would still cook since he had promised the system because the consequences were waiting for him. As long as he failed to complete the system's mission, he would have to bear the consequences himself. Lin Rei knew that these consequences were extremely terrifying. He might not be able to bear them. As for the devourer, how would he know if it was impossible without even trying? What if he succeeded? At that time, he would have a devourer as his battle pet. Lin Rei would probably be the only person in the entire Hongmeng realm who could do that. When he thought about how he had walked the saint's world with the devourer beast by his side, and how those old bastards from the Holy Lands and God Emperors had stared at him in shock, Lin Li couldn't help but smile. He raised his head and met Lao Ding's eyes. They locked eyes for an instant before looking away. An amused smile flashed across his face. 35 million. 35 million. Are there any higher bids? Lao Ding knew that he could not stop the discussion below. In the end, he could only use his voice to pull the crowd back to reality. The entire place fell silent. After a long time, a reply was given. 35 million going once. Lao Ding looked at the crowd below with anticipation. He hoped that a few more people would step forward a bit. After all, only the Donglai Pavilion would benefit in the end. 35 million going twice. A trace of disappointment flashed through Lao Ding's eyes when he saw the silence below. This was a little different from what he had expected. Could it be that today 40 million? Just as Lao Ding was thinking to himself, a voice suddenly broke the silence and caused an uproar. What the F***CK? 40 million? Who is this? There are still people bidding for it. Mother F***Ker, crazy. This is F***King crazy. Over 40 million to buy an invulnerable black dog? How F***King rich do they have to be to do this? Excessive. This is simply too excessive. You have so many divine crystals, but you don't know how to give them to the poor. You actually bought a black dog. Yeah, I agree. It's too hateful. At this moment, all kinds of discussions about the 40 million people who had made a move emerged one after another. At this moment, the happiest person was Lao Ding. Since someone was bidding, it meant that he could earn more. How could he not be happy? 40 million. Is there anyone else for 40 million? Is there anyone higher? This time, Lao Ding was full of energy. His voice was even louder than when he gave birth to his own child. He was elated. 40 million? Hearing the bid of 40 million, Lin Ray raised his head and scanned his surroundings. He wanted to find out where the person who had made the bid of 40 million was. He wanted to know who it was that had not made a move earlier. Only when he was about to obtain the black dog did he make a move. Was he trying to provoke him? 45 million. After failing to find out where that person was, Lin Ray finally opened his mouth again. He was determined to find out who that person was. Of course, his purpose was very simple. He merely wanted to see if there was anyone else who was bidding for the black dog. 45 million. Is there anyone else for 45 million? 45 million. The atmosphere was extremely heated. The previously quiet atmosphere disappeared. However, Lin Ray did not pay attention to it. He released his divine sense and enveloped the entire place. He wanted to find out who it was that was bidding against him. Sure enough, right after Lin Ray thought of that, the voice from before sounded again. 55 million. F***CK sure. Since you want to play, Emperor will play with you. Seeing that the other party was bidding, Lin Ray was intrigued. At the same time, his divine sense enveloped everyone in the place. Of course, he could see the person who had spoken very clearly. The person who was bidding against him was a middle-aged man. He was surrounded by guards. He was obviously a disciple of Sect. His strength was not bad. He was almost at the Divine Lord level. As for the middle-aged man, he was slightly stronger. He was already at the peak of the Divine Lord level. Looking at them, Lin Ray opened his mouth again. 75 million. This time, Lin Ray was not bidding for the black dog. His purpose was purely to annoy the other party. Hiss, the moment the word 75 million appeared, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. 75 million high-grade, divine crystals. This was an astronomical figure in the East Arrival Pavilion. 75 million. It's actually reached a high price of 75 million. I wonder if there are any higher bids. The highest bidder wins. At this moment, the middle-aged man who had made the previous bid appeared in Linley's mind. After hearing this price, he had a bitter look on his face. He hadn't expected Linley to lower the price so much. However, the bitterness disappeared in an instant. It was replaced by a smear of difficulty. It was as if he was determined to win the devourer. Lin Ray was stunned when he saw that. Various thoughts filled his head. What's going on? Does this person know that the black dog is the devourer? Has he come especially for him? This was because the middle-aged man was extremely determined. He was so determined that Lin Ray could not help but think that way. Yeah, that makes sense. The little dragon said, "After all, the devourer can be found in the scripture pavilions of some sacred grounds in the saints' world. It's possible that he knows about it and has come for the devourer. Think about it. If you can use the blood exchange technique to transplant the devourer's bloodline into your body, just think about it. This." At that moment, Lin Ray became rather stunned by the little dragon's words. If it were him, Lin Ray would never do something like that. There had to be something wrong with his head to use the blood of a demonic beast instead of his own blood. But just because Linley thought this way didn't mean that others thought the same. After all, for the sake of training to reach the pinnacle of power, for the sake of power, for the sake of being able to control the life and death of others, for the sake of not being trampled upon by others, they would do anything. They would do things like murder, arson, rape, and pillage, let alone a mere blood exchange technique. You didn't expect that, did you? The little dragon chuckled softly when he saw Lin Ray's shocked expression. However, there was a hint of bitterness in his chuckle. To be able to exchange blood with a devourer, once the blood exchange is successful, The person who possesses the Devourer's blood will possess everything of the Devourer clan, including their powerful physical body and their most special devouring power. Oh, devouring power? Then my Devourer of the heavens is... Suddenly, when he heard the little dragon mention the devouring power, Lin Ray could not help but think of the Devourer of the heavens that he had learned. At that moment, Lin Ray began to suspect that the Devourer of the heavens that he had learned was the cultivation method of the Devourer clan. TCH, the Devourer clan? A hint of disdain flashed through the little dragon's eyes, as if he looked down on the Devourer clan. Yeah, why isn't it? Upon seeing the little dragon's reaction, Lin Ray knew that he might have made a mistake. Of course not. Even though the Devourer clan possesses the devouring power, do you think they will be as powerful as your Devourer of the heavens? Without waiting for Lin Ray to speak, the little dragon continued with a tone full of disdain. It's not that I look down on the Devourer clan, but even if they were here, they would have to bow down to the Devourer of the heavens. Lin Ray was speechless. Lin Ray believed the little dragon's words because he had witnessed how powerful the little dragon was. So he believed that the little dragon had surpassed the existence of this world and had reached an unimaginable level where even the great Tao could not restrain it. All right, I've said enough to you today. I still have to remind you that you only have 4 more hours before the time limit for you to connect with the system is up. You have to hurry, or else... A voice that made Lin Ray feel gloomy came from the little dragon's mouth. All of a sudden, Lin Ray leaned to the side and shook his head to abandon everything. He turned his gaze to the Devourer and stared at him. Lin Ray knew that he had to subdue him today, no matter what. As the old saying goes, it's either you die or I die. Lin Ray was very clear about this. He didn't want to die. This world was still so good. There were still so many places that he had yet to visit and even higher realms that he had yet to reach. He couldn't say that. However, on the other side, when Lin Ray called out the price to 70 million, the middle-aged man's expression was firm and he spoke without hesitation. 90 million. Hiss. When these words came out, everyone could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. 90 million. This had already exceeded the scope of everyone's thinking. Even the top powers in Yen City could not sit still the instant they heard this number and fell from their chairs. 90 million. All right. Looking at the scene, Lin Ray smiled. A hint of disdain emerged on his face. Since you want it, I'll give it to you. At this moment, Lin Ray chose to give up. It wasn't that he didn't want to. It was because he felt that the energy within the Devourer's body was restless. It was as if a ferocious beast was about to rush out at any moment. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. After all, I'm not in a hurry. A strange smile emerged on his face. Just when everyone was excited, they didn't know that one of their feet had already stepped into the 9 underworlds. At this moment, everyone was only shocked by the huge amount of 90 million. However, no one noticed that the Devourer was sweeping his gaze over. Lowly humans. Originally, I only wanted to rest for a bit. However, you arrogantly wanted to use me as an auction item. You really don't know the meaning of death. Looking at the lowly and pitiful humans in front of him, the killing intent in the Devourer's heart soared. Originally, the Devourer came to the God realm for unknown reasons. Originally, coming to a low-level plane already made the Devourer very unhappy. Originally, with the attitude of taking things as they came, he found a cave to sleep in. However, unexpectedly, when he woke up again, he was already captured and brought to the Donglai Pavilion. The originally playful Devourer only wanted to play around. However, he didn't expect that the lowly humans in his eyes would treat him as prey and wantonly auction him. This caused his dignity as a Devourer to be tarnished. At this moment, he decided that all the people in front of him must die. Not a single one of them would be left alive. 90 million. 90 million first place, lowly humans. You actually dare to use me as an auction item. You have guts. Just when Lao Ding was speaking excitedly, a voice that seemed to come from hell exploded in the Donglai Pavilion. It was filled with coldness, blood, and gloom. Are you going to make a move? Hearing the Devourer's voice that was filled with killing intent, Lin Ray smiled. He understood that the Devourer was going to make a move. Relax, I'll put you away. When the matter is settled, I'll let you out. Don't worry, it's only 6 hours. I won't make you wait too long. Feeling the Devourer's killing intent, Lin Ray said to his wife and children. Okay, got it. As Lin Ray's wife, the first thing was to know when to advance and when to retreat. Ing and the other 2 women did very well. In the next moment, without any hesitation or words, the 2 women disappeared on the spot with a wave of his hand. The crowd didn't see this scene, so they didn't know that someone was missing. At this moment, everyone's attention shifted to the stage, to the black dog next to Lao Ding. Everyone was shocked that the black dog could speak human language. Moreover, the killing intent in its voice was clear. The moment the black dog spoke, the temperature in the hall dropped to freezing point. It gave people the feeling that they were in a 10,000-year-old ice cellar, causing them to shiver. Looking at the black dog, Lao Ding's body trembled. His face was filled with shock and fear. As the person who had always been guarding the black dog, he never knew that the black dog could speak human language. Moreover, after hearing the black dog's words, a fear that came from the depths of his soul emerged. Are you surprised? Looking at Lao Ding, the killing intent in Devourer's eyes was uncontrollable. Regarding Lao Ding, the Devourer had already placed him on his death list. Since you're surprised, let's calculate how much we owe each other. With that, the Devourer took a step forward and arrived beside Lao Ding in an instant. Without giving him time to react, it raised its front paw and slammed it towards Lao Ding's spiritual palace. Not good. Feeling the cold, killing intent in front of him, Lao Ding felt that something was wrong. He immediately wanted to react. However, the difference in cultivation between the 2 of them was too great. The Tao was like a chasm, and he couldn't do anything. Kacha! A cracking sound came from Lao Ding's body. Suddenly, a terrifying wave of spiritual energy was emitted from Lao Ding's body and drifted into the air. Good things can't be wasted. Although it's very little, it's at least 50% essence. Looking at the ownerless spiritual energy in the air, the black dog's eyes flashed. Devour. In the next moment, a scene that made Lin Ray's eyes light up appeared. He saw the black dog open its mouth, and a terrifying devouring force emerged. In the air, the ownerless spiritual energy all froze in place when it felt the terrifying suction force. In the next moment, the spiritual energy seemed to have gone crazy and swarmed into the black dog's mouth. Burp! A long burp came from the black dog's mouth. The scene was very quiet. Rather than saying it was quiet, it was more accurate to say that no one knew what had happened. Taunting. Chapter 1003. A blood-curdling scream resounded through the entire Donglai Pavilion. At this moment, the crowd couldn't help but turn their gazes toward the source of the scream. In the next instant, when the crowd's gazes landed on the source of the scream, everyone present, apart from Lin Ray, was filled with terror. They were rooted to the spot and did not move at all. It wasn't that they didn't want to. Rather, they didn't dare to. Imagine a divine sovereign realm cultivator, a top-notch cultivator stronger than them, was already kneeling on the ground with blood gushing out of his mouth before they even knew what was going on. However, what shocked the crowd even more was that they couldn't sense any cultivation from Lao Ding's body. It was as if Lao Ding was an ordinary person. However, the crowd understood that Lao Ding was still a divine sovereign realm expert just a moment ago. Yet, he was reduced to such a state. The only explanation was that he was crippled. At this moment, apart from Lao Ding, the only other person on the stage was the black dog. When they recalled the black dog's words, the crowd thought of a terrifying outcome. Whoosh, whoosh. When the crowd thought of this possibility, they turned their heads and secretly glanced at the black dog. They were extremely shocked. Could it be that Lao Ding's current state was caused by him? When they thought of this, the crowd didn't dare to continue thinking about it. When they thought of how they were mocking such a terrifying existence, regret surged into their hearts. Some of them even had the thought of killing themselves. Motherfucker, if I knew, I wouldn't have come. I didn't get what I wanted. Now, whether I'm alive or not is one thing. When they thought of what happened to Lao Ding, the crowd felt a lingering fear. When some of the more cowardly cultivators thought of what they had done earlier, they couldn't help but fall to the ground on their buttocks. Their faces were as pale as corpses. If this was in the past, there would definitely be people coming forward to mock them. However, now, who was the one mocking whom? No, my cultivation, on the stage, that person was kneeling on the ground with one hand on the ground and the other hand on his divine palace. His face was pale and malevolent. Their expressions were filled with hatred and murderous intent. At the same time, in the depths of their expressions, there was even more fear and unwillingness. He hadn't expected that the black dog he had captured would be so powerful. He had thought that the black dog only had a strong physical body, so he had wanted to take advantage of it to make a fortune. He had never expected that he would end up like this. A bitter smile appeared on his face as he mocked himself. Alas, I didn't expect that I would be destroyed by my own hands in the end. If I knew you were so powerful, I wouldn't have provoked you back then, and I wouldn't have brought you out of that forbidden area. At this moment, Lao Ding thought about a lot of things. He thought about the terrible things he had done in the past. At this moment, he really regretted it. He regretted everything he had done. Oh, are you regretting it? Looking at Lao Ding with an amused smile, Devourer's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he sneered, "Humans are like this. In front of those weaker than you, you are very strong, and even doing evil is the truth. However, in front of someone as powerful as you actually did such a thing. Is it useful?" Dumbfounded, Lao Ding hadn't thought that the black dog in front of him would be so smart. He was unmoved by force or persuasion. Looking at the black dog's expression, he knew that he was most likely going to die today. Die. Looking at Lao Ding, a murderous intent flashed across Devourer's eyes. He raised his paw and was about to slap Lao Ding to death. "No, you shouldn't kill me first. You should kill the person who wanted to buy you." Just when the paw was a palm away from Lao Ding, it suddenly stopped in the air and didn't move forward. That makes sense. The person who had bid 90 million was stunned by this sudden sentence. Fear surged into his heart. At this moment, he hated Lao Ding to the bone. He hadn't thought that he would be played like this. Not good. Just when the middle-aged man was thinking, a cold gaze swept across him and the others. He knew that they were most likely going to die. Because he was very clear about the Devourer's background, he knew that if the Devourer wanted him dead, he wouldn't be able to live to see the sun tomorrow. There was a saying in ancient times, if the king of hell wanted you to die at midnight, he wouldn't let you live until dawn. In the middle-aged man's world, the Devourer was the king of hell, and he was the little demon that was controlled by the king of hell. Just when the middle-aged man was in extreme fear, the Devourer's gaze swept past him and didn't linger on him. Suddenly, he broke out in cold sweat. However, his heart relaxed a lot because he still had time to plan. You're different from them. I don't understand why you want to stay in the divine world with your strength. Is there any meaning to it? In the end, the Devourer's gaze landed on Lin Ray. With regards to Lin Ray's cultivation, the Devourer was able to see through it with a single glance. Especially earlier, the Devourer and Lin Ray had been paying attention to each other since the beginning. Thus, in the Devourer's opinion, the person who needed to be dealt with the least should be Lin Ray, the cultivator who was at the initial stage of the Sage Realm. The reason for that was because the Devourer felt a trace of dangerous aura from Lin Ray. It was an aura that he hadn't felt for a very long time. However, the Devourer's words caused the crowd to be puzzled. As he spoke, the Devourer looked over. When he saw Lin Ray, the crowd became silent. They had never seen the person mentioned by the Devourer before. Furthermore, they knew that this person was very unfamiliar. He didn't seem to be from Yin City. He was definitely an outsider. Sensing the crowd's hesitant gazes, Lin Ray ignored them. His gaze was fixed on the Devourer. A smile appeared on the corners of Lin Ray's mouth. However, this smile was so eerie and terrifying to the crowd. It made their hair stand on end. The Devourer, the most mysterious race in the Hongmeng realm. He possesses the bloodline of the Devourer. He is indeed very strong. With a single sentence, Lin Rei revealed the Devourer's origin. The crowd was confused by this. However, when a middle-aged man who had bid 90 million heard Lin Rei reveal the Devourer's identity, his expression suddenly changed and became gloomy. I didn't expect that I'm not the only one who knows the Devourer's identity. This person knows it so clearly as well. Who is he? How does he know the Devourer's identity? He doesn't seem to be from the sacred world. How does he know the Devourer's identity? Looking at Lin Rei, the middle-aged man's mind was filled with questions. He felt that Lin Rei was very mysterious. However, on the other side, Lin Rei didn't know the answer to the middle-aged man's questions. At this moment, he didn't want to know. Facing such a strong opponent, Lin Rei couldn't relax. He was afraid that he would die. Furthermore, the system didn't give him much time. He had already wasted some time previously. If he didn't hurry up, the only outcome left for him was death. The Devourer wasn't surprised that Lin Rei knew his identity. Furthermore, he had never hidden his identity. Looking at Lin Rei, his eyes flashed. You're very smart. I don't know where you saw this sovereign's information, but if you saw this sovereign's information, you should know that this sovereign is very strong. So strong that you can't resist. A proud expression appeared on the Devourer's face. Regarding the Devourer, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of the little dragon. You are indeed very strong. The Devourer didn't dare to deny this point. The Devourer was indeed very strong. If he didn't admit it, he wouldn't have made Lin Rei so afraid and terrified. On the other hand, as Master Dan, Lin Rei also knew that although the Devourer was very strong, he had some injuries on his body. Although they weren't fatal, they affected his strength. Therefore, for the current Devourer, as long as he raised his mental strength to the limit and acted carefully, everything would be fine. The injuries on your body are very serious. If you don't treat them quickly, then who knows how much strength you have left in the end. Moreover, if the old geezers in the Holy World and the Hongmeng realm find out about your injuries, I'm afraid they'll break through the barrier to find you and exchange blood with you. Listening to Lin Rei's clear and logical explanation, the Devourer's expression changed again and again. He had never mentioned his injuries in front of outsiders, but this person in front of him, a thought came to his mind. He looked at Lin Rei and said, "You're an alchemist?" Alchemist. 'Tis TSK. That's a good name. However, I still like people calling me Master Dan. You broke through from the Dan realm to the Saint realm? The Devourer was a little in disbelief. Although he didn't know much about alchemy, he still knew about the division of alchemists. Although Master Dan wasn't the highest among alchemists, it was still a very high-level existence. Even in the Holy World, there weren't many Master Dan. However, in the immortal realm, he actually found one. How could he not be shocked? Lin Rei felt very good about the Devourer's shock. After all, this could be considered a compliment. Looking at the Devourer's shocked expression, Lin Rei didn't deny it. He nodded and said, "That's right. The Emperor has indeed broken through to Master Dan. Otherwise, he wouldn't know that the great Devourer would have such pain in his eyes." Lin Rei's proud expression made the Devourer very unhappy. He didn't expect to be mocked by a little guy from the immortal realm today. All right. Since you're done, it's my turn. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei was neither servile nor overbearing. The Devourer appreciated this. Your matter? Doubt flashed through his eyes. That's right. My matter. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei said, "My matter is actually very simple. I'll give you freedom. However, the important thing is that you have to submit to my clan. Of course, I know that if your clan wants to recognize a master, you have to get the other party's approval." As for the Devourer, Lin Rei understood that the Overlord wanted him to submit. Hearing Lin Rei's condition, the Devourer couldn't help but laugh. He was sure that this was the funniest joke he had heard in all these years. Asking a Devourer to submit to a human was something that had never happened in history. Therefore, the Devourer could only laugh. At the same time, the Devourer put Lin Rei on his must-kill list. Looking at Lin Rei, A terrifying, killing intent soared into the sky. Lin Rei was stunned. The primal chaos dragon spear appeared. Facing the devourer, Lin Rei instinctively became vigilant. Because of the devourer's strength, he had to be serious. Come on, let me see the powerful, devouring power of your clan. Let's see if your devouring power is stronger or if the Emperor's cultivation technique is stronger. After saying that, Lin Rei placed the spear behind his back. The devouring heaven execution was instantly activated by Lin Rei. He began to accumulate power and attack at any time. Devouring power? The devourer's expression was filled with disdain towards the devouring power that Lin Rei mentioned. In his heart, the Devourer clan was the strongest in terms of devouring power. Therefore, the Devourer felt that Lin Rei's words were extremely laughable. As the old saying goes, trying to show off one's strength in front of an expert. This was what the Devourer was thinking at the moment. Believe it or not, just don't be too shocked when the time comes. Lin Rei understood that it was normal for the Devourer to not believe him. It moved. Suddenly, a terrifying, devouring power appeared in the surroundings. Lin Rei didn't panic at all. It was as if he didn't put this power in his eyes. TSK, TSK, TSK. So this is your devouring power. Not bad. Feeling the terrifying power around him, Lin Rei said calmly. Although Lin Rei appeared calm on the surface, he was panicking in his heart. The terrifying, devouring power around him was too strong. This was just him using it. If he used any battle techniques or magic, he would be done for. Forget it, I don't care. Anyway, the little dragon said that the devouring power of the devouring heaven execution is very strong. It's just that Lin Rei neglected it before. Devouring the heavens and earth. Suddenly, the devouring heaven execution was activated in Lin Rei's body. The devouring power that he originally felt around him disappeared when he used the devouring heaven execution. There wasn't even a trace left behind. It was as if the devouring power had never appeared. Feeling that the devourer wasn't confident in his devouring power, he activated it again. This time, he didn't stay silent. He arrived at the alley facing Lin Rei. No, my devouring power can't be broken by others. The devourer stared at Lin Rei in shock and confusion. For a moment, the devourer began to panic. He wasn't the only one who knew the devouring power. Even Lin Rei knew it. This made the devourer very puzzled. He didn't understand when Lin Rei's terrifying devouring power came. How sad. Looking at the devourer, Lin Rei was in a very good mood. Thinking of how powerful his devouring heaven execution was, he couldn't help but wonder where this devouring heaven execution came from. Bastard, you can't have it. You can't. At this moment, the devourer seemed to have gone crazy. He mobilized all the cultivation in his body in order to see if Lin Rei knew how to devour or not. Die for me. In the next moment, the devourer's figure disappeared. Lin Rei was stunned. He immediately released his divine sense to search for the devourer's location. Found it. Feeling the devourer's figure in his mind, a smile appeared on his face. He raised his hand and activated the devouring heaven execution. Waves of devouring power that made the devourer gasp in surprise appeared. Feeling the devouring power, the devourer knew that Lin Rei really knew the devouring power. Moreover, the devouring power was even stronger than the devouring bloodline of his clan. Chapter 1004. Devour. He flashed to the devourer's side and circulated the devouring heaven art. He raised his hand and slapped at the devourer's head. When the devouring beast sensed the devouring power coming from above its head, a glint flashed across its eyes and an expression that was completely different from before appeared. TSK, you are indeed very strong. I didn't expect a human to have such a powerful devouring power. Looking up, the devourer did not panic. Instead, he smiled. This shouldn't be a bloodline talent. Cultivation method. Your devouring power comes from your cultivation method, right? Hearing the devourer's words, the hand paused in the air for a moment before attacking again. Lin Rei was only slightly surprised that the devourer had guessed that his devouring power came from his cultivation method. Lin Rei did not intend to hide his cultivation method. Looking at the devourer, Lin Rei was very calm. Then let's try it. Let's see which of our devouring powers is stronger. After saying that, Lin Rei's hand with the devouring power arrived at the devourer's head. Then let's try it. At this moment, the devourer moved. As the saying went, move like a rabbit and stay still like a virgin. When Lin Rei's hand was less than 1 centimeter away from the devourer tilted his head and easily dodged Lin Rei's attack. However, Lin Rei was shocked. He naturally did not want to give up. He moved forward and slapped again. This time, Lin Rei did not hide his cultivation base. The cultivation base of an early-stage Dao fruit saint was undoubtedly revealed by Lin Rei. This is the first time I've used my full strength in a battle. You should feel very honored. After saying that, he slapped again. This time, Lin Rei included a combat method in his devouring power. The devouring power is circulating so freely. It seems that you have been cultivating this cultivation method for a long time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. The devourer knew Lin Rei's every move like the back of his hand. He understood that if it weren't for the difference in their cultivation bases, he would have been defeated this time. If that really happened, the name of the Devourer clan would also be tainted with this insult. This was not what he wanted. However, the Devourer really coveted Lin Rei's devouring cultivation method. If he could combine the cultivation method with his devouring bloodline, with the power of his devouring bloodline, then the Devourer felt very excited. It seemed as if he could feel the Devourer's devouring power. The Devourer, the feeling of being worshipped by others made his blood boiled. You're thinking too much. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei snorted and increased the intensity of his attacks. Although he didn't know what the Devourer was thinking, he knew that the Devourer must be plotting something in his mind. Clang! The primal chaos dragon spear moved. In Lin Rei's hand, the spear was like an extension of his arm. He moved it freely without any hesitation. Azure Dragon, appear! A low roar came from Lin Rei's mouth. Suddenly, a golden light shot out from the primal chaos dragon spear. Dragon's aura? Feeling the pressure from the golden light, the Devourer was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Rei to have the existence of the dragon race. What surprised the Devourer even more was that the dragon race wasn't the same as the dragon race. It was the dragon ancestor, Roar! Dragon roars came out one after another. The 9 dragons roared together, shaking the world. Disaster was coming, 9 dragon ancestor? At this moment, other than shock, the Devourer didn't have any other emotions. 9 dragon ancestor. In his memory, there were only 4 dragon ancestors at the beginning of the world. Where'd he go to steal the 5th one? And now, there were 9 of them. How could not be puzzled and shocked? Kill them. Ignoring the Devourer's shock, Lin Rei ordered the 9 azure dragons above his head. His body instantly rushed out and took the lead. His imposing manner was unstoppable. Bam! 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 At this moment, a great battle of the century had begun. The original Donglai Pavilion had already turned into dust and no longer existed. Even this Yin city was now a battlefield in the eyes of Lin Rei and the Devourer. They even felt that this Yin city was a cage that bound them. There was a moment when they wanted to destroy it. However, Lin Rei was still fine, but the Devourer couldn't. After all, the more people they killed, the more negative karma they would have. This would be detrimental to their future breakthroughs. Collision after collision, intense battle after intense battle. All the cultivators in the entire Yin city and even the surrounding regions had sensed it and rushed over. In addition to the 9 azure dragons joining the battle, this battle had once again reached a higher level. At this moment, Lin Rei and the Devourer had already turned into a ray of light. In the eyes of the crowd, they could only see a few rays of light colliding, separating, and colliding again. Wave after wave of powerful pressure surged out. In the face of such an intense scene, the system seemed to be very quiet. Right now, On the surface of the water, it raised its head and looked at the battle between Lin Ray and the outside world. Its expression was filled with worry. Sigh, brat, even if you were to increase your cultivation by a few levels, you still wouldn't be a match for the Devourer. That's right. The Devourer has already reached the Hongmeng realm. I don't know why he would appear in the divine realm. The system's voice transmitted into the little dragon's ears. You still have a nerve to say that. Hearing the system's voice, the little dragon was anxious. It no longer had its usual calm tone. Other than anger, there was nothing else. If you know the Devourer's cultivation, why did you still give him this mission? Don't you know that Lin Ray's current actions are like throwing an egg against a rock? He won't be able to withstand a single blow. Besides, look at how Lin Ray is being played by the Devourer. This bastard didn't even use his full strength. Even if his body is injured, so what? After all, he's a cultivator of the Hongmeng realm. Do you think Lin Ray will be a match for him? Isn't he King courting death? Why would I still take action to subdue him as a battle pet? System. The system understood the little dragon's agitation very well. After all, the little dragon and Lin Ray had established a deep relationship. Seeing the little dragon so angry, the system laughed and said, "Okay, don't worry. No matter what, Lin Ray is the system's host. Do you think the system will push its host to death? Zero inch him? Then what do you mean?" This time, Lin Ray reacted. Indeed, as the host, Lin Ray, the system naturally wouldn't let Lin Ray die. He still needs experience. Besides, don't you think that Lin Ray's current foundation is starting to be a little unstable? The system's voice sounded. Suddenly, the little dragon was startled and suddenly came to a realization. Indeed, as the system said, Lin Ray had been breaking through too quickly during this period of time, so much so that he didn't care about the problem of his foundation. If one looked carefully, they would be able to see that at this moment, Lin Ray's traces were starting to show signs of floating. If this situation continued to develop, the final result would be unimaginable for the little dragon. However, what did this have to do with letting the little dragon fight the Devourer? Could it be that this Devourer could solve the problem of Lin Ray's floating foundation? Seeing that the little dragon wasn't complaining like before, the system continued. So in order to allow the host to have a strong cultivation base, the system previously calculated that the host wouldn't die this time, but would go to a low-level plane. There, he would be reborn and live a different life. After he has tasted all the joys and sorrows of the world and comprehended all the emotions in the world, when that time comes, his primordial spirit will return and his floating foundation will naturally be solved. The little dragon was terrified by the system's layout. It felt as if the wind was blowing on its balls. Rebirth. Wasn't this just mercilessly kicking Lin Ray, who was standing at the peak of the 18th level? And rebirth. What would Rual Lin's cultivation base be like if he was reborn? It wasn't easy for him to cultivate until now. If he was reborn, just the matter of cultivation base alone would be very difficult. You don't have to worry. Just as the little dragon was thinking, the system's voice sounded in the little dragon's ears. What I mean by rebirth is that after sealing Lin Ray's memories and sending his soul to the lower realm, he will experience the path of reincarnation and return to his original body after experiencing the tribulation. This won't have much impact on his cultivation base. But if there is an impact, then I can only say that after returning to Lin Ray, his cultivation base will be purer and his foundation will be stronger. Phew, that's good. Hearing the system's words, the little dragon, who was originally worried about Lin Ray, was relieved. He didn't want to see his friend leave just like that and his cultivation base disappear. But thump. Now, the little dragon was most afraid that the system wouldn't be able to win against it, but there might be words like this. During the period of time that Linley is gone, it's very likely that we will temporarily enter a deep sleep. Thus, make some preparations. Xiaolong was speechless. The little dragon didn't like the system's startled look, but he still nodded in response. Yes, I understand. Don't worry. In the outside world, Lin Ray didn't know anything about the conversation between the system and the little dragon. If he knew, he would probably jump out and say something. At this moment, Lin Ray wasn't very relaxed. The more he fought with the Devourer, the more serious Lin Ray's expression became. During this battle, Lin Ray gradually understood his own arrogance, especially after seeing that the Devourer was injured. After this battle, Lin Ray understood that the gap between him and the Devourer was huge, to the extent that he was a little afraid. It could be said that in front of the Devourer, he was like a newborn baby, and the Devourer was an adult. If he wanted to kill him, it would only take a blink of an eye. What level has your cultivation base reached? Why are you so strong? Besides, aren't you injured? Why are you still so strong? Why? At this moment, Lin Ray couldn't stay calm anymore. He screamed at the Devourer. He didn't expect the Devourer to be so strong that he couldn't fight back. Strong? The Devourer didn't answer Lin Ray's question directly. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Although I don't want to admit it, your cultivation base is indeed very strong, and it's under the condition that you're injured. I'm even more curious about who injured you to this extent. At this moment, Lin Ray stopped fighting. He understood that with his strength, it was meaningless to continue fighting. Right now, Lin Ray was very curious as to who had injured the Devourer. Even someone as powerful as him had been injured. What level of cultivation did the person who had injured him have? Lin Ray didn't dare to imagine. He couldn't imagine how strong the other party's cultivation base was. But one thing he was sure of was that they weren't as strong as the little dragon. Although the pressure he felt from the Devourer was unbearable, it was nothing compared to the pressure from the little dragon. TSK. There aren't many people in this world who can hurt me, and I wasn't injured by someone. Saying that, the Devourer laughed at himself. This world has changed. Now, in your memories, there's only the God realm and the Holy realm. You don't know that there's a realm above the Holy realm. That realm is very... You're from the Hongmeng realm? At this moment, Lin Ray couldn't stay calm. He heard the system and the little dragon talk about the Hongmeng realm many times. However, from the information Lin Ray heard before, the Hongmeng realm was sealed. If that was the case, then the Devourer was suddenly a thought appeared. Without any hesitation, he directly asked the Devourer, "You couldn't have broken through the barrier that sealed the Hongmeng realm and been injured by it, right? You? Who are you?" At this moment, the one who was shocked wasn't Lin Ray, but the Devourer. Very few people knew about the Hongmeng realm, and even fewer knew about the Hongmeng realm being sealed. However, the young man in front of him said that he was from the Hongmeng realm, and that he was injured after breaking through the barrier. This made the Devourer wary. At this moment, the Devourer's reaction gave Lin Ray the answer he wanted. "It seems that I was right. The Hongmeng realm. I didn't expect you to break through the barrier that sealed the Hongmeng realm. I have to say that you're very strong. Even Sheng couldn't do it. I didn't expect you to do it. Can I ask how you did it?" The Devourer looked at him doubtfully. Other than shock, the Devourer didn't know how to express the shock and astonishment in his heart. The Hongmeng realm, the barrier that sealed it, and Sheng. Which one of these wasn't the most confidential information in this world? The Devourer believed that the Hongmeng realm and the seal were obtained from some secret realm. But what about Sheng? This was a word that didn't even exist in the Holy Realm. How would the person in front of him know about it? At this moment, the way the Devourer looked at Lin Ray changed. His disdain and contempt had turned into indifference and doubt. It was at this moment that the Devourer acknowledged Lin Ray. "Why, you're right. I do come from the Hongmeng realm, but I'm from the outermost region of the Hongmeng realm. The seal there is very weak." As he said that, the Devourer seemed to sink into his memories. Back then, in order for me to leave, in order for me to preserve the bloodline of our Devourer clan, my clan used everything we had to forcefully break open a crack in the barrier so that I could leave. Because of this matter, my devouring clan has suffered heavy casualties. Our vitality has been greatly damaged. Chapter 1005. Lin Ray was rather impressed by the Devourer's words. Cutting off one's tail to survive was actually a good idea. But what made Lin Ray speechless was that wasn't his mission to unlock the big sister in the Hongmeng realm. Recalling the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was stunned. He didn't expect that someone would leave the Hongmeng realm so eagerly before he could unlock the seal. Looking at the Devourer hand, Lin Rei wanted to ask about the Hongmeng realm because it would be a great help to him. After all, he would be heading to the Hongmeng realm in the future. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to win 100 battles. It was never wrong to know something. Looking at the Devourer, Lin Rei asked, I want to ask you about the Hongmeng realm. Just as Lin Rei asked, the little dragon and the system couldn't wait any longer. They didn't want to let Lin Rei know about the Hongmeng realm so soon. After all, it would only be disadvantageous to him. What should we do? Should we stop Lin Rei? Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon lifted its head and asked the system. Although the little dragon favored Lin Rei, it would never hesitate in the face of right and wrong. Stop? Yes. Aren't you going to stop him? Aren't you afraid that he will find out about the Hongmeng realm? The little dragon was doubtful about the system's attitude. No, it's not that I'm not stopping him, but I think it's time for Lin Rei to leave and head to his path of training. The little dragon was speechless. After hearing the system's words, Xiaolong finally understood what the system meant when it said that it would not stop him. Indeed, he hadn't stopped Linli. Instead, he had directly demoted Linli to a mortal sister, making him immortal. All right, the little dragon didn't stop the system's decision and stood aside quietly, waiting for Lin Rei to leave. Reincarnation, return, realm. In the outside world, Lin Rei was currently asking the Devourer about the Hongmeng realm. He was completely unaware of what was happening in the system. Right at this moment, just as Lin Rei was about to continue asking questions, a wave of fear suddenly surged from the depths of his soul. His voice came to an abrupt halt. It was as if his entire body had been frozen in place. He stood there in a daze and did not speak again. His expression was filled with vigilance and fear. What's going on? Who is it that is so powerful, so powerful? Could it be? Suddenly, a figure appeared in Lin Rei's mind. He believed that this figure could make him feel fear, just like what was happening now. Of course, it was impossible for the Devourer to emit such a level of fear. Besides, the Devourer was right in front of him. If he wanted to do something, Lin Rei would be able to sense it. Little dragon, what's going on? Is it you? Lin Rei wanted to ask what was going on, but halfway through his sentence, his voice suddenly went silent. This time he panicked, and he was sure that this matter was definitely related to the little dragon. Thinking about his own situation and thinking about his two wives, Linli suddenly had a thought. Using what little power he had left, he released the Shadow children from his system. Shadow, you and Ice quickly leave this place. Once you return to the Sect, take good care of it. Understand? Husband, his children, who were originally cultivating in the system space, suddenly saw the scene in front of them jump. When they saw Lin Rei, the two were excited, but these sudden words stunned the two women. Why didn't you say so earlier? Listen to me. Feeling the vitality in his body quickly being buried, he knew that he didn't have much time left. You don't have to worry about this. Take good care of it in the Sect, and wait for my return. When the time comes, we will go to the Holy World together. However, during this period of time, you have to protect the Sect and cultivate well. When I return, I will check. After speaking, Linli turned to look at the Devourer. A smile appeared on his face as he said, I'm very happy to have met you. This battle was extremely valuable to me. Although I wasn't able to defeat you, the experience I gained is a true treasure trove. Don't worry, the Emperor of the Hongmeng realm will go. Moreover, the barrier there will be broken by the Emperor sooner or later, but your people will be free. You, Lin Rei suddenly acted like this, as if he was saying his last words. The Devourer was baffled. Other than Lin Rei himself, no one else was aware of the fear in Lin Rei's body. Okay, Shadow, the two of you leave quickly. Remember, ask Yin to call back all the disciples outside. All those who disobey will be killed without mercy. After saying that, the last bit of vitality in his body was taken away. Lin Rei knew that his time was up. Until now, he still didn't understand why the little dragon would do this. Until he knew that he wouldn't die. As for what would happen next, he didn't know. Under the gaze of everyone, Lin Ray, who was originally standing in the air, suddenly disappeared without a trace. It was as if he had never appeared. Husband, husband, seeing Lin Ray disappear, the children of shadow became anxious. How could they still care about the life and death of the people around them? Their cultivation instantly adjusted, and a huge pressure instantly crushed the entire Salt City. The gentlemen instantly covered the entire Salt City. They wanted to investigate Lin Ray's whereabouts. However, what made the two girls helpless was that there wasn't the slightest trace of Lin Ray in the entire Salt City. There wasn't even the slightest trace of his aura left. As for the Devourer, he was also very shocked when he saw Lin Ray disappear. He also thought about Lin Ray, but the outcome was the same as his children. As for the remaining people in the Donglai Pavilion, the Devourer didn't care about them. He glanced at the children of shadow, then left in a flash, disappearing from the eyes of the world. The children stayed in Salt City for a period of time. Seeing that there was no trace of Lin Ray, they finally returned to the Xuanzong Sect according to his wishes. Lin Ray followed the instructions given to him by Shadow and summoned all the cultivators of the Xuanzong Sect from all over the Divine Realm. There were many planes in the universe, so many that you couldn't count them all. And in the corner of the outermost region of the universe, there was a very unremarkable plane floating. The Destiny Plane, a plane that revered martial strength. In this plane, empires were established by martial strength, and duchies were established by martial strength. However, the power of duchies was much smaller than empires. Furthermore, duchies were dependent on empires to survive. This was the eastern part of the Destiny Plane. There was a duchy here, and at the edge of this duchy, there was a city called Lin City. In the backyard of the Lin family, a 3 to 4-year-old child was playing happily with a group of people who seemed to be servants. His face was brimming with smiles. Perhaps because he was too young, his clothes were completely soaked after playing for a while. "Young Master Lei, come and catch us. Come quickly, we are here." "Yes, young Master Lei, come quickly, we are here." The servants were standing in the surroundings, happily playing with the child in the middle. I don't want to play anymore. You are bullying me." Suddenly, the child took off the gauze covering his eyes and showed an unwilling expression. The child was small to begin with, and coupled with his angry look, the 3 servants around him liked their young master even more. The Lin family was very famous in the entire Yin country. After all, the old man of the Lin family was the most famous general in the entire duchy. Although he had retired, his prestige was still outside. The child was officially the only son of the Lin family for 3 generations, and his name was Lin Ray. At this moment, if Bing and Ing saw the child playing happily with a group of people here, they would definitely not recognize that this was their husband, the saint who could control the life and death of others with a raise of his hand. Moreover, the 2 women would not believe that Lin Ray would be in such a low-level plane. It could be said that this plane was not even as strong as the profound sky continent. Here, the martial realm was divided into body tempering, martial artist, martial master, martial grandmaster, martial general, martial king, martial emperor, martial ancestor, martial saint, and finally, martial god. The martial emperor and martial ancestor were fine, but the martial saint and martial god had not appeared in Tianming continent for a long time. In the Yin country, cultivators with strong mouths were only martial kings, and there were only 2 of them, both from the imperial family. As for martial generals, there were many of them, and they were all great generals of the Yin country. For example, the old man of the Lin family, Lin Tian, was a true martial general expert. At this moment, in the courtyard, Lin Ray was sulking. A madam came from the side and looked at Lin Ray. The madam was startled and said, "What happened to our Lin Ray? Why are you unhappy?" "Mother?" Lin Ray, who was sulking, heard this familiar voice and turned around. The originally bitter smile disappeared and was replaced with a face full of smiles. He jogged all the way to the madam's side and jumped into her arms. "Mother, I don't want to play anymore. I want to go out and play." I want to play with other children. Okay, okay. Acting spoiled was generally a child's specialty, and also a unique skill. Unfortunately, it did not work on the madam. No. Why? Seeing his mother reject him without thinking, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He still remembered that his mother, Huiyun, doted on him the most. He did not know when it started, but his movements were restricted. He could not go to this, he could not go that, he could not move this, and he could not move that. This made him very depressed. He was helpless. There was no other way. Just like this, he was treated like a national treasure. Even if the old man pulled out all of his beard, the old man only smiled and did not do anything. If the outside world knew that a martial general-level powerhouse had his beard pulled out by a child, it would probably cause an uproar. No reason. In any case, you can't go anywhere. As she spoke, Huiyun said to the attendant beside her, "Come, bring the young master back to his room. Remember, you can't let him go anywhere. Especially today, you can't even let him out of the room. Remember?" "Yes, madam." As he spoke, the young man who received the order came forward and carried Lin Rei in his arms. He left and headed towards Lin Rei's room. Interesting. Seeing her family leave, Huiyun felt sad. "Rei, it's not that mother doesn't want you to go out. It's just that your body can't withstand the torment." Ruo Lin should have heard this. He would probably get to the bottom of it. The East Wing was the center of the Lin family. It was originally the old man's residence, but for some reason, it was vacated for Lin Rei to move in. At first, Lin Rei had some doubts, but later he understood. He moved in to watch over him and not let him go anywhere. However, for a child, he could think of all kinds of ways to play. Ever since he was grounded by his family, Lin Rei began his escape plan. In 1 year, he knew the changing times of the guards in the residence, the changing times of the attendants, all the uncles in the family, and even the old man's schedule. Not for anything else, but to be able to leave this home that made him unhappy. And today, the opportunity came. He could feel the stifling feeling in the residence. It was different from usual, and there seemed to be more guards than usual. The opportunity has come. In the room, Lin Rei leaned his head against the window and watched the situation outside. A smile appeared on his face as he thought of a plan. He randomly went to the wardrobe and started rummaging around. "That's not right. I remember that I hid my clothes in here last time. Where did they go?" He rummaged left and right, but there was nothing. This made Lin Rei anxious. This was a good opportunity, and he didn't want to waste time. F***CK, forget it. I'm not young anymore. I don't believe that I can't run away from home without clothes. He angrily turned around and went to the window with his back facing the backyard. He reached out and grabbed the window frame. With a little force from his forearm, a small hole that only he could squeeze through appeared. This young master has the foresight to open a hole here. Otherwise, today wouldn't have happened. After saying that, Lin Rei didn't stay and left the Lin family. He left the cage that he always wanted to leave. Although Lin Rei looked like he was only 3 or 4 years old, he was actually 5.5 years old. For some unknown reason, Lin Rei's body was very weak after he was born. His body was as thin as firewood, and he had a sickly appearance. It was also because of this that the entire Lin province activated the highest level of response. At all times, they watched Lin Rei and didn't allow him to leave home. It was as if they were afraid that something dangerous would happen if he came alone. At this moment, Lin Rei was walking on the streets of Lianqing City. It was as if he had released his natural instincts. Walking on the streets, he didn't have any of the etiquette at home. Moreover, the pale complexion on his face was also a little better. Perhaps it was because he was in high spirits after a happy occasion. Walking on the streets of Lianqing City that he had been looking forward to for a long time, Lin Rei, who had been locked up at home for many years, felt that everything he saw was very novel. Even if it was a woman's rouge, face powder, or jewelry, Lin Rei wouldn't let it go. When Ruo Lin's family saw that their child was so happy, they probably regretted their previous decision. However, they did that in order to protect Lin Rei. So, little bastard, are you tired of living? You actually dared to steal from my Zishuan Hall. Do you know how the word death is written? Do you know who opened this Zishuan Hall? At this time, a noisy voice came from the front. Lin Ray, who just happened to pass by, heard the noise in front of him. A touch of interest floated in his heart. His small figure quickly rushed forward and squeezed into the crowd. Chapter 1006. Because Lin Ray's body was small and thin, he was able to shuttle back and forth between the gaps of the crowd. Soon, he arrived at the noisy scene. At this moment, a middle-aged man with a ferocious expression was looking at the little boy lying on the ground. The vicious words coming out of his mouth sent chills down one's spine. On the ground, the little boy had his hands in his chest, and his body was curled up. He looked very pitiful. Others might think that he was in pain, but Lin Ray saw it clearly. The little boy was protecting the thing in his chest with his life. Lin Ray was stunned by this scene. He had been fed and fed since he was a child, so he was even more curious about what could make this little boy, who was about his age, protect it with his life. Bam! Seeing that the little boy lying on the ground did not speak, the middle-aged man kicked the little boy's body. Even so, the little boy's mind on the ground did not relax at all. He was still guarding the thing in his chest with all his might. This inhumane scene fell into the eyes of the crowd. Finally, someone could not stand it anymore and spoke up to stop him. "Brother, even if this little boy stole something from you, you could have just taught him a lesson at most. There's no need to do this, right? You're an adult, and the one you kicked is a little boy. Are you trying to kick him to death?" Someone spoke up, and the crowd was no longer silent. "That's right. Is there still any humanity left? I used to think that the Zishuan Hall service was very good, but I didn't expect the people in their store to be so cruel and violent. How can we dare to eat at the Zishuan Hall in the future? That's right. It's too cruel. I've decided not to go to the Zishuan Hall in the future." Yes, that's right. At this moment, the middle-aged man stopped his actions and looked at the crowd around him. He knew some of them. They were all Zishuan Hall's old customers, and their status in Lianxing was not low either. Thinking about how the Zishuan Hall would lose a group of old customers because of today's incident, the middle-aged man suddenly smiled apologetically. Everyone, I'm really sorry. It's not what you think it is. It's mainly because this little boy stole something from our Zishuan Hall. So, whoosh, just as the middle-aged man opened his mouth to attract the attention of the crowd, the boy lying on the ground suddenly had the strength to jump up from the ground. He didn't complain about the pain in his body, nor did the pain affect his speed. He directly rushed out of the crowd with his weak and malnourished body. This scene stunned everyone, including the middle-aged man. He didn't expect that the little guy, who had kicked a few times under the quilt, still had the strength. Lin Ray saw everything that had happened, including the boy's attempt to leave and the direction he was running in. Looking at the boys departing back, a smile appeared on Linley's face. He didn't tarry any longer. He was going to find the boy who had fled, for no other reason than to find out what the boy was protecting, for him to risk his life for it. He left the crowd and chased after the boy. However, the difference in speed between him and the boy was like heaven and earth. Huff, huff, huff. Running all the way, his clothes were drenched in sweat. His face was pale and colorless from exhaustion. He panted heavily as he looked at the dilapidated courtyard in front of him. Seeing this, Lin Ray frowned. This was his first time coming to such a place. Step by step, he approached the courtyard. At this time, an extremely weak voice came from the room. Lin Ray didn't find this voice strange at all, because it was the voice of the boy just now. "Little sister, your big brother is awesome today. I got you a big chicken leg and a steamed bun. Look how fragrant it is." In addition to the little boy, there was also a little girl in the room. From the looks of it, the little girl was younger than the boy. The boy sat beside the straw bed and took out the things in his arms. A chicken leg and a steamed bun. The two things were intact. Seeing this, the boy breathed a sigh of relief. He tore off a piece of the steamed bun, then tore off a piece of the chicken leg and placed it in the steamed bun. His movements were gentle as he brought it to the mouth of the girl lying on the bed. Amen, how fragrant. Smelling the steamed bun and chicken meat that was brought to her mouth, the little girl's face was filled with smiles. This smile was the best comfort to the mind. Amen, quickly eat. If it's not enough, I have more here. As he spoke, he passed the steamed bun and chicken meat to his little sister. Big brother, have you eaten? Suddenly, his little sister spoke. I have eaten. It's delicious. Seeing the girl's expectant expression, the boy's heart ached. He held back his tears and nodded. Okay, quickly eat. I'm going to go out and digest. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He was afraid that his lie would be seen through. Furthermore, the pain in his body had already caused him to faint. Amen. Then, big brother, come back soon. His little sister nodded and didn't say anything else. Thinking about it, she happily ate the steamed bun. Seeing his little sister eating happily, the boy stood up and dragged his tired and aching body out of the room and into the courtyard. In the outside world, Lin Ray, who was squatting by the window, saw this scene. He couldn't help but shed tears. He didn't expect that the things his mind was protecting would be steamed buns and chicken drumsticks. However, at this moment, he understood why the boy would use his life to protect the things in his arms. It was because he still had a little sister at home. A little sister who was younger than him needed his care. Seeing his mind walking unsteadily, Lin Ray had the urge to rush up and help. However, he knew that with his current body, he wouldn't be able to help at all. Furthermore, he had almost used up all of his energy from running all the way here. His mind left the house and walked outside. Seeing the boy's departing figure, Lin Ray didn't follow. He turned his head to look at his little sister who was happily eating in the room. Then, he turned around and left. He returned the way he came. He remembered that there was a pawn shop on Yonghua Road. Looking at the pawn shop in front of him, Lin Ray didn't hesitate to kick him in. His face was filled with determination. Amen? This little brother, I wonder why you come to my pawn shop? At this moment, in the pawn shop, a busy employee saw a child walk in without an adult accompanying him. He looked at him and asked, "Oh, old grandpa, look at how much my clothes are worth. I want to be him. However, you have to give me another set of clothes. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It just has to be ordinary like a commoner." Hearing Lin Ray's words, the old man hesitated. Looking at the boy in front of him who was dressed extravagantly, he wasn't sure if the child could make the decision. Furthermore, there weren't many people in Lian City who could wear such expensive clothes. He was afraid. You don't have to worry. I can make the decision. I have a lot of clothes like this at home. However, I forgot to bring money when I went out, so... As if he understood the old man's concerns, Lin Ray said. Hearing this, the old man was relieved. However, he was still a little afraid. However, seeing Lin Ray's determination, the old man nodded and said, "All right, since little brother is so determined, then I'll take it." Seeing the old man accept it, Lin Ray took off all his extravagant clothes and accessories without hesitation and placed them on the counter. Hey, this is the first time I've seen someone come to a pawn shop dressed so extravagantly. Although the old man said this, his face was filled with a smile. Yes, this is a set of clothes made from cloud-falling brocade. The original price was 300 gold coins. Now it's depreciated to 150 gold coins. After the old man took the clothes, he looked at Lin Ray. The currency of Tianming continent was copper, silver, gold, and black iron coins. A single copper coin was enough to feed a family of 6. Now, Lin Ray's clothes were worth 150 gold coins. One could imagine how powerful Lin Ray's background was. Although the old man wanted to cheat Lin Ray, he gave up when he thought of the power behind him. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but he had to be alive to spend it. It was useless even if he was alive to take it, but not to spend it. Therefore, the old man gave a very fair price. Yes, 150 gold coins. Lin Ray looked into the old man's eyes for a long time. Only when the old man looked away did Lin Ray stop. He nodded and smiled. All right, 150 gold coins it is. However, this one should be enough. Before the old man could say anything, Lin Ray grabbed the rest of the clothes on the table and put them on again. Looking at those valuable items, the old man felt like a knife was being twisted in his heart. However, he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't do anything to Lin Ray. In the end, when he saw that Lin Ray had put on all his clothes, he quickly smiled and said, I wonder if this young master wants to trade with cash, or give me 50 gold coins. As for the other 100 gold coins, just store them for me. Oh, that's right. Give me some ordinary clothes. It's best if there are patches on them. Looking at Lin Ray, the old man was puzzled. However, seeing that Lin Ray was determined, he sighed and nodded. All right, please wait a moment. After a while, the old man came back with a money bag and a set of shabby clothes. Lin Ray was very satisfied with the comparison. He nodded and took the clothes to change. After a while, the originally luxurious young master disappeared and was replaced by a sickly young man. Seeing Linley's transformation, the old man's lips twitched. In his heart, he began to comment, I don't know what's going on in this kid's head. Why does he have to wear such old, tattered clothes instead of beautiful clothes? Not knowing what was going on, the old man didn't dare to say anything. From the beginning to the end, he just smiled. Smile and still smile. After Lin Ray was dressed properly, he came in front of the old man and put the money bag into his clothes. Without stopping, he strode out of the pawn shop and disappeared into the crowd. Looking at Lin Ray's figure, the old man shook his head helplessly. What a strange young man. After coming out of the pawn shop, Lin Ray took out a copper coin and bought 3 chickens, some vegetables, and clothes. Following the memory in his mind, he returned to the shabby courtyard where he followed the boy. When he arrived at the courtyard, he saw that it was very quiet. Lin Ray concluded that the boy definitely hadn't returned yet, following which a smile appeared on his face. Carrying the heavy things, he pushed open the door and walked in. Who is it? At this moment, in the room, the little sister who had just fallen asleep heard the sound of the door being pushed open. She hurriedly got up and asked the person who entered with trepidation, "HM? You? Why?" After arriving at the room, Lin Ray heard his little sister's words and looked up. He saw that his little sister's eyes were wide open, but her tone was as if she was asking who was there. "You? Who are you?" I'm telling you, my brother will be back soon. You better leave quickly." After confirming that the person who came was not her brother, the little sister immediately used her words to threaten him. In her impression, her brother was an omnipotent and powerful hero. My name is Lin Ray. I'm a poor boy just like you. I just passed by and saw a house here, so I decided to come here to rest. I didn't expect that when I came in, Lin Ray couldn't say that he was a young master from Lin Province. Otherwise, it would make his little sister feel awkward. As expected, after hearing those words, the nervous little sister relaxed. "I'm sorry. I can't see, so I thought it was a bad guy." Lin Ray, so as long as someone casually said that to you, it wouldn't be a bad guy. Seeing his little sister's reaction, Lin Ray was speechless. However, when he thought about how his little sister said that she couldn't see, Lin Ray became silent. Are you still there?" Seeing that there was no sound, his little sister mustered up her courage and asked, Why yes, I'm here." Looking at his little sister, Lin Ray walked to her side and opened all the things he bought. Suddenly, the fragrance filled the entire room. Rumble. The sound of stomach growling came from the side. Compared to Lin Ray, he laughed without hiding it. How should he describe this day? In Lin Ray's opinion, this was the happiest day since he was born. Looking at his little sister, Lin Ray stopped laughing. He tore off a chicken drumstick and handed it to his little sister. "My name is Lin Ray. We've met today. May I know your name?" Feeling the chicken drumstick in her hand, his little sister hurriedly took a step back and placed the drumstick in Lin Ray's hand. And no, my brother said that I can't take things from strangers." Looking at her, Lin Ray shook his head helplessly. "Won't we know each other if you tell me your name?" Looking at his little sister, Lin Ray's expression was filled with anticipation. To him, who had never played with other children since he was young, getting to know this little sister was the thing he cared about the most. "Tell me." Seeing that his little sister was hesitating, Lin Ray hurriedly acted coquettishly. This was what he was best at. "I am called Gu Yunxi." In the end, his little sister couldn't help but act coquettishly and say her name. "Yunxi, Gu Yunxi. Good name, ha." As he muttered his little sister's name, his face was filled with a happy and excited smile. This was the first friend he had made, and he cherished it very much. Okay, now that we know each other, we're not strangers anymore. As he spoke, he placed the drumsticks in his little sister's hand again and grabbed a piece of chicken for himself to eat. If this scene was seen by the people of Lin Province, they would definitely be very shocked. Lin Rei's appetite was getting smaller and smaller, and this was something that the Lin family was worried about. At this moment, Lin Rei was acting so crazily as if he had been starving for a long time. Chapter 1007. As for Gu Yunxi, although she couldn't see, she could tell from the sound that Lin Rei was eating happily. It was unknown if it was because of Lin Rei, but the little sister, who was originally very reserved, was no longer nervous. She grabbed the drumstick in her hand and started eating. Lin Rei didn't stay idle. As long as the meat in his little sister's hand was gone, he would give it to her again. In the end, his little sister was too full to eat and refused Lin Rei. I'm so full." His little sister stopped eating. Her face was filled with a blissful smile. Her hands touched her slightly swollen belly. This was the fullest she had eaten. Usually, other than her brother, there was no one else who would make food for her. Sensing his little sister's reaction, Lin Li stopped eating. Looking at his little sister's oily hands, he frowned. Reaching out, he grabbed his little sister's handkerchief and began to wipe her hands. What are you doing?" Faced with Lin Rei's sudden action, his little sister was shocked. Her body subconsciously retreated. Little fellow, why are you so afraid?" Looking up at his little sister, Lin Rei smiled. "Your hands are too oily. I'll wipe them for you. This way, you won't feel uncomfortable." After saying that, Lin Rei moved again. He took his little sister's hands. This time, his little sister didn't resist like before. She just let Lin Rei wipe her hands. At the door, the boy who left dragged his tired body back. He stretched out his hand to support himself on the door frame. His pale face had slightly eased, but it was still very pale. He let out a long sigh. "I didn't expect that guy to be so ruthless. If he did it a few more times, I'm afraid I won't be able to see my little sister today." After saying that, a smile appeared on his pale face as he thought of the happiness on his little sister's face when she was eating the drumstick. "I say, little sister, how do you usually live in the dormitory? Is there no one to take care of you?" Just as the boy was daydreaming, Lin Rei's voice came from the room. This is not good. One must know that his younger sister was an extremely important person who couldn't see. Even if she was cheated by others, she wouldn't know. Thinking of the person who spoke just now, the boy became anxious. At this moment, he couldn't care less about the pain coming from his body. His figure was like a sharp sword unsheathed from its scabbard, quickly rushing out, exceeding his current limit. Bang! The door was violently pushed open by the boy. Suddenly, Lin Rei and his little sister in the room were shocked. "I dare you." As soon as he entered the room, he saw that his little sister's hand was being held by Lin Rei. He was instantly enraged. He immediately rushed in front of Lin Rei. Without giving him a chance to explain, he directly threw a right hook at Lin Rei's face. With a plop sound, Lin Rei's thin and weak figure was directly sent flying. He didn't stop until he was a meter away. Although the boy was injured, after all, he had lived among the common people since he was young. He had to do all the dirty and tiring work. However, Lin Rei was different. He was a rich young master who had been imprisoned since he was young. It could be said that his 10 fingers didn't do any household chores. He couldn't carry anything on his shoulders or hands. In addition to Lin Rei's thin and weak body, it was normal for him to be sent flying by the boy. "Brother, what are you doing?" Although she couldn't see, she could hear what happened. Feeling that Lin Rei was hit by her brother, the little sister became anxious. She directly stood up, not caring whether she could see or not. She began to fumble around, not for anything else but to find Lin Rei's figure. Little sister, what are you doing?" Seeing his little sister like this, the boy hurriedly went forward to help her up. However, the moment his hand touched her, his little sister flung it away. "Brother, you're the most handsome Lin Rei. I just ate a lot of meat and my injury was too oily. So, Lin Ray helped me wipe it. It's not what you think. After saying that, the little sister continued her search. At the side, when the boy heard this, he turned his head and looked around. When he saw the unfinished meat and food on the ground, his heart skipped a beat and his face was filled with awkwardness. Although he was embarrassed, when he thought of his previous actions, the boy hurriedly reached out to help Lin Ray's weak body up. I'm sorry. I wronged you. I didn't expect. I'm really sorry. If you think I can't do it, you can hit me. I won't fight back. After saying that, he closed his eyes and stood there without saying another word. Lin Ray, looking at the boy, Lin Ray was speechless. He didn't hit him. For some reason, Lin Ray wanted to get close to this boy. Moreover, in Lin Ray's heart, he already treated him as his friend. Looking at him, Lin Ray grinned and said, I said, what's your name? What? The boy, who was already prepared to be hit, was stunned when he heard this. Looking at the boy, Lin Ray rolled his eyes and asked again, I said, what's your name? I'm Gu Jun, tis TSK, Gu Jun Gu Yunchi. That's a good name. I'll remember it. After saying that, Lin Ray stretched out his hand. I'm Lin Ray. I hope to be friends with you. I wonder if you mind? Friend. Looking at Lin Ray, Gu Jun thought that he would be beaten up. He didn't expect Lin Ray to be like this. That's right, friend. Of course, if you're not willing, then, big brother, hurry up and agree. Big brother Lin Ray is very nice. He even gave me so many good things to eat. Without waiting for Gu Jun to speak, Gu Yunshi couldn't wait to speak. Her face was filled with a happy smile. All right, since you're not saying anything, it means that you agree. A smile appeared on Lin Ray's face. Then he sat on the ground and raised his hand to rub the place where he was hit. A wave of pain spread throughout Lin Ray's body. This was the first time that Lin Ray was hit. Who in the entire Lien City would treat Lin Ray like this? Of course, other than those who were on par with the Lin family. Are you okay? Seeing the injury on Lin Ray's face, Gu Jun scratched his head awkwardly and said with embarrassment, I'm fine. Putting down his hand, he pointed at the meat at the side and said to Gu Jun, hurry up and eat. It's still hot. It won't taste good if it's cold. How can I accept this? Looking at the steaming hot meat and rice, Gu Jun really wanted to eat, but a rumbling sound came from Gu Jun's stomach. A trace of red appeared on Gu Jun's face. That's enough. Hurry up and eat. Little sister and I are full. If you don't eat the rest, it'll be a waste. After saying that, Lin Ray ignored Gu Jun and went to his little sister's side to chat. Seeing Lin Ray's warm invitation, Gu Jun finally put down his pride and ate because his stomach was too full and he was injured. However, at the same time, the entire Lien City was shaken. The Lin family discovered that Lin Ray was missing and immediately mobilized all of the family's resources to search for him. Even the guards outside the city had no choice but to launch a search of the entire Lien City and its surrounding areas under the authority of the Lin family's old master. In the Lin family's meeting hall, an old man sat at the top. Looking at the 4 men and 3 women below, he coldly snorted and said, Look at all of you. Each and every one of you is trash. You can't even protect a child. Tell me, what use do I have for you? Especially your second son. Tell me, what kind of father are you? You can't even tell when your own child went missing. I think you haven't knelt in the ancestral hall for a while. Are you missing it? At this moment, Lin Feng, who was also Lin Ray's father, heard his father's words. His face darkened and his heart trembled. The ancestral hall was a place that the Lin family strictly guarded. Even if they were already adults or generals of the duchy, they were still extremely afraid and unwilling to go there. Looking at the old master, Lin Feng felt indignant. Little brat, isn't it good to stay at home? Great. Now even your father will be implicated. Tell me, aren't you just making things difficult for your father? Of course, these thoughts were just thoughts. He was more worried about Lin Ray's disappearance than anyone else, especially when he thought about his own child's health. Looking at his children below, he felt a wave of irritation. All of you, scram and search for him. Even if you have to turn the entire Lien City upside down, you must find him. If necessary, use the shadow guard. What? Shadow guard? At this moment, Lin Feng was shocked. Father, the shadow guard cannot appear. If the loss is investigated and reported by the spies of the Yin country, then we will have endless troubles. Perhaps because of this, we will be besieged by all the families in Yin City. That's right, Father. The shadow guard is a very serious matter. Please reconsider. Father, big brother and second brother are right. Please consider this matter carefully. At this moment, several people below spoke up. Their expressions were filled with worry. This time, they were not only worried about Lin Rei. They were even more worried that their father would do something crazy. I say, each and every one of you, report. Just as the old master was about to reprimand Lin Feng and the others, a voice broke the tense atmosphere. Don't you know that I am in a meeting? Seeing that his words were interrupted, the old master frowned and coldly said, Come in. After receiving the old master's approval, Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. He waved his hand, and the people at the door let Lin Rei go. A young man, wearing the Lin family's armor, rushed in. When he saw the old master in the main hall, the young man immediately knelt on the ground and saluted. Without waiting for the others to speak, the young man spoke first, replying to the general, I just found young master's clothes in a pawn shop. As he spoke, the young man took out the clothes he obtained and placed them in front of everyone. This is Rei's clothes. Why pawn shop? Everyone looked at the young man hesitantly. Their expressions were filled with doubt and puzzlement. They were puzzled as to why Rei's clothes would be in a pawn shop. They were puzzled as to why a rich family would pawn his clothes. What was the use of it in front of him? Of course, another thought appeared. That was, their Rei was kidnapped and his clothes were forced to be pawned. Others might not know, but they were very clear. Every piece of Lin Rei's clothes were worth a lot. Of course, this was only for ordinary people. Even if it was a small family, it would still be worth a lot. Thinking of this possibility, the old master became even more anxious. Go and investigate. Even if you have to turn the entire city upside down, you must investigate. Also, send out the shadow guards. One day, if I don't see Rei safely in front of me in one day, all of you will go to the ancestral hall to receive your punishment. After speaking, I didn't wait for anyone to refute. I stood up and disappeared from the meeting hall. When this scene appeared, Lin Feng and the others were dumbfounded. They knew that their old master was really angry this time. Let's go. One day. The old master only gave us one day. If we don't find Rei, then, thinking about the ancestral hall, the third Lin Dong's body couldn't help but tremble. It wasn't from excitement, but from fear. It was fear of the ancestral hall. Even though they were all generals of the Yin country, if they had to go to the battlefield or the ancestral hall, they would rather go to the battlefield than go to the ancestral hall. Yeah, even if you beat me to death, I don't want to go to the ancestral hall. One by one, they complained and hurriedly left. Lin Feng and his wife looked at their brothers working so hard for their family. A trace of guilt appeared on their faces. AI, it's been hard on them. After this, we will have to reward them more. Okay, at this moment, the entire Yin city and the surrounding cities were shaken. This was because the Lin family had mobilized the military, the business world, and all of their forces in order to find the young master of the Lin family. As if this news had grown wings, it spread throughout the Yin country and the Yin kingdom royalty, the Tian Lin family. As for this news and the movement of the Lin family, Lin Rei, who was in the room, didn't know about it. At this moment, Lin Rei was sitting around the fire and chatting happily with the Goose siblings. He was like a wild horse that had broken free of its borders. He had completely let go of himself and was completely different from when he was in the Lin family. Ha ha ha. Gu Jun, I didn't expect you to be so silly when you were young. Seeing Lin Rei laughing like this, Gu Jun was speechless. He didn't expect his little sister to be so mean to him. However, looking at the smile on his little sister's face, Gu Jun felt relieved. Moreover, he liked Lin Rei's personality very much. It was all when I was young. I was immature, but it's all good now. As he spoke, he looked at his little sister with a face full of determination. Now, it's just me and my little sister relying on each other. For my little sister's sake, I have to learn to be firm. Because I want to watch my little sister grow up, get married, and have children. I want to protect her. Suddenly, an aura rose to the sky. His face was full of determination. Looking at Gu-jun, Lin Rei also made his decision. Don't worry, the days ahead will definitely be very good. I promise, I will protect my little sister with you. As he spoke, a doting look flashed across his face. He reached out and gently stroked his little sister's head. This scene moved Gu-jun's heart. Thank you. Thank you for not despising us siblings. At this moment, Gu-jun completely regarded Lin Rei as his friend and brother. For no other reason than that Lin Rei didn't despise him for having a little sister with bad eyesight. What are you saying? Looking at Gu-jun, a trace of displeasure flashed across his face. We're friends and brothers. You're treating me like an outsider. Your little sister is my little sister. In this life, I will protect her and let her live a worry-free life. I will let her grow up happily without any worries. This was Lin Rei's promise. Of course, in Gu-jun's eyes, he might think that it was a joke. However, Lin Rei was serious, more serious than real gold. Chapter 1008. When night came, Lin Rei didn't leave. He stayed with the Gu siblings, and the smile on his face never disappeared. In Lin Rei's eyes, he was very happy right now. He felt that this was enough. He didn't need anything else. The night wind was very cold, especially in the north. Lin Rei's body wasn't in good condition, and after being punched by Gu-jun during the day, his weak body couldn't take it anymore. Of course, the most important factor was the room they were in. Although the room was in good condition, it was a pity that the ceiling was severely damaged. Even though they were in the room, they could still feel the cold wind outside. Inside the room, Lin Rei was lying on a grass bed. His whole body was trembling, and his face was extremely pale. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. He was in danger. The Gu siblings were completely unaware of Lin Rei's condition. At this moment, the Gu siblings were snuggling together. Because the weather was too cold, they often did this. In a dark space, Lin Rei suddenly appeared. His whole body was full of panic. After all, he was only a child. Now that he suddenly appeared here, surrounded by darkness, how could he bear it? Looking at the pitch-black surroundings, Lin Rei's heart thumped. He wanted to call his parents' names on the spot and ask them to come and save him. But when he saw the situation around him and thought about how he ran away from home, his desire to call out to his parents faded. What should I do? Should I stay here? Or, at this moment, two choices appeared in front of Lin Rei. One was to continue forward, and the second was to stay here. If he continued forward, he might be able to find the exit. If he stayed here, he could only wait quietly. Perhaps he wouldn't be able to get out for the rest of his life. He might starve to death, die of thirst, or even die of illness. There must be a choice. Lin Rei was in a dilemma. No matter which choice he made, he was very hesitant. What should I do? What should I? Little guy, continue forward. There are good things waiting for you there. Suddenly, a voice resounded in the space Lin Rei was in. Plop, who are you? Who's talking? Lin Rei wasn't prepared for the sudden sound and fell directly to the ground. His face was filled with horror and fear as he looked around. He was like a frightened wolf cub who wanted to snuggle into the embrace of a female wolf, curling up into a ball. Who am I? The mysterious man's voice lasted for a while before he continued. It's not convenient to tell you who I am now, but you just need to know that I won't hurt you. Go ahead. There's something in front of you. Take it away. The mysterious man seemed to be afraid that Lin Rei wouldn't go back, so he spoke again. You can leave after you get that thing. Think about it carefully. Hey, who are you? And what is that thing you're talking about? There was no sound. No matter how much Lin Rei called out, in the end, there was no more sound from the mysterious person. At this moment, Lin Rei's originally curled-up body stopped trembling. He no longer trembled and even stood up. He raised his head and looked at the dark depths in front of him. Inexplicably, There was something in the depths of the darkness that seemed to be calling him. Since I'm here, I'll take things as they come. Since I want to leave, why should I be afraid of these things? A touch of determination appeared. The next moment, Lin Ray moved. He took a step forward and began his journey. There was still fear, but in order to leave this place, the fear in his heart only faded temporarily. However, in the outside world, it was already late at night. A group of people came to the house. Among them, there were all kinds of people. Some were wearing military uniforms, some were wearing luxurious clothes, and some were wearing black clothes that were similar to the night clothes of assassins. At this moment, the group stopped at the door of the house. The middle-aged leader looked at the house in front of him and was stunned. He looked at the young man with hesitation. "Are you sure the young master is in here?" Plop! As soon as the middle-aged man spoke, the young man directly knelt on the ground and said, in reply to the general, "If there's no accident, the young master is indeed in here." "How can that be?" Seeing the young man so absolute, the middle-aged man was stunned. His face was full of shock. He knew what kind of illusion Ray grew up in. He really didn't do any household chores and didn't do any dirty or tiring work. Now, he actually appeared in this courtyard in front of him. Moreover, he was sleeping outside. Sigh. He sighed deeply and used his hand to relax his furrowed brows. "You all wait here. I'll go on myself." After saying that, the middle-aged man disappeared from everyone's sight without waiting for a response. In the room, there was one more person besides Lin Ray and the other two. It was none other than the middle-aged man who had just entered the room. "HM, it's really Ray." The man glanced around, and finally his gaze fell on Lin Ray, who was huddled in a corner and trembling. He was stunned. Without caring whether or not he would disturb the Goose siblings, he took a step forward and rushed to Lin Ray's side and picked him up. "What's going on? Why is Ray's body so hot? Where did the wound on his face come from?" Feeling Lin Ray's various questions in his arms, the middle-aged man's originally excited heart instantly turned cold. It's over. If the old man sees Ray like this, then the ancestral hall will definitely kneel down. Thinking of the ancestral hall, the middle-aged man's body suddenly trembled. It wasn't from excitement, but from fear. Who are you? Put down Lin Ray quickly. Otherwise, I'll fight it out with you." Just as the middle-aged man was fantasizing about the various misfortunes that had happened in the ancestral hall, a young but firm voice entered his ears. "You're awake." He raised his head and looked at the person who had awakened him. Looking over, Gu Jun's body was very weak. However, if one looked closely, they would discover that this little fellow had already entered the first layer of the body, refining realm. Looking at him, the middle-aged man's interest was piqued. "You want me to put him down? You know him?" "Yes, he's my friend. He's my little sister's friend. So, you can't take him away. Otherwise, even if I lose my life, I won't let you leave." As he spoke, he spread out his hands and walked to the door to guard it. His expression was fierce as he stared at the middle-aged man, as if he wanted to use his eyes to stare him to death. When the middle-aged man saw this scene, his expression was filled with admiration, especially his determination to protect Lin Ray. Just this point alone was enough to prove his character. "Men, bring these two back together. I'll take my leave first." He smiled at Gu Jun and casually spoke a sentence into the air, following which he disappeared without a trace in front of Gu Jun's confused expression. Hiss! The sudden disappearance of the middle-aged man caused Gu Jun to be extremely shocked. He understood that in this world, there were many people who could do it. That was martial artists, an existence that surpassed ordinary people. If only I could become a martial artist. That way, I could protect my little sister and Lin Ray. Whoosh! Just as Gu Jun was fantasizing, two figures appeared in front of Gu Jun and Gu Yunshi. They reached out their hands and hugged the two of them in their arms. Their figures then faded from the room. At the same time, in the Lin mansion, all of the doctors in Lian City had gathered at the door of Lin Li's room. Every single one of them had a worried look on their faces and would shake their heads from time to time. Sigh. I'm afraid there's no way to reverse the situation. Yes. This time, even if the heavenly spirit came, it would be useless. Young Master Lei's soul is already incomplete. Tsk, Tsk. At this moment, all the doctors spoke in unison. Their faces were filled with shame. Is that so? At the side, when the old man of the Lin family heard the confirmation of several respected doctors, he suddenly felt as if he had aged several decades. His body trembled, and he almost fell. Fortunately, there was someone with sharp eyes and agile hands at the side who supported the old man. Otherwise, at this moment, the entire Lin province sank into a deathly silence. No one spoke. Lin Rei, who was in the room, was currently as busy as before. However, no one knew that at this moment, Lin Rei was in a mysterious space and was walking aimlessly. "Husband, look, our son is so good-looking and cute. Have you given him a name?" Just as Lin Rei was aimlessly searching for the thing that the mysterious person spoke of, a voice suddenly sounded. It was a voice of both a man and a woman. In the next moment, something similar to a light screen appeared not far in front of him. On it was a young man and a woman. On the woman's bed was a newborn baby. When this scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes, a sense of familiarity welled up in his heart. Even the corners of his eyes became moist. What's going on? I've never seen these people before. Why do they give me such a familiar feeling? Looking at the scene on the light screen, Lin Rei stopped. In a light screen, the man glanced at the woman on the bed and said, "Jean In, your surname is Jean. Jean represents the pain you suffered when you gave birth to Jean In. This is to prevent him from forgetting his gratitude in the future." "Ah, Jean In. No, that can't be. How can a child take his mother's surname?" "No. It's fine. I don't care about that. It's decided. He'll be called Jean-un." Bo! All of a sudden, the sound was heard, and the image disappeared like a bubble. Why is it gone? The light screen suddenly disappeared. Suddenly, a fierce look appeared in Lin Rei's heart. Lin Rei did not expect this vicious aura. He did not think that he would release such a powerful vicious aura. Although no one in the family dared to release vicious aura and vicious aura, Lin Rei could still feel it. However, compared to the vicious aura that was released just now, it paled in comparison to the vicious aura that was released just now. After some time, Lin Rei came back to his senses. Looking in the direction where the light screen disappeared, he let out a long breath. His face was filled with shock. What exactly is this place? Why did that scene from earlier feel as if I had personally experienced it? That feeling, why do I feel pain after that feeling? It's as if I've lost something important. This feeling became clearer and clearer. For a moment, Lin Rei did not know what to make of it. No, an illusion. Yes, it's definitely an illusion. Shaking his head, he hurriedly threw away this feeling. After pondering for a while, he continued to move forward. He did not want to. Just the scene just now made him feel like this. Who knew what was ahead? He did not dare to guarantee anything. However, if he did not continue forward, what else could he do? He had no other choice but to move forward because there was a 50% chance that there was an exit ahead. "All of you, those who killed my wife, must die." Another light screen appeared. This time, Lin Rei walked for a long time. He thought that there would be no more but Heaven and Earth Sect, Sword Sect, Dynasty. How bold of you. Very well. Since you're already here, you shall die with my wife. A shocking sword light flashed from the man's hand. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of people were killed. However, this was only the beginning. By Qi Dianwei Bing, kill them. Not only those who participated in the killing of my wife and children, but also their sects and anyone related to them. Kill them all. Capture their souls and throw them into the 9th underworld river. I want them to suffer the pain of having their hearts bitten by thousands of ants for all eternity. Yes, we will do as you bid. After saying that, the light screen disappeared again. This time, Lin Rei was even more certain that he had experienced what was on the light screen before. This was because he felt that it was very real. If it was only once, it would be fine. However, if it happened again and again, it could not be a coincidence. Why don't I remember when this happened? Moreover, I'm only 5 years old. Why do I feel like I've experienced all of this? Question after question surged into his head. He continued forward with doubt. He knew that there would be more up ahead. If he continued like this, he might be able to find the answer he wanted. Afterwards, just as Lin Ray thought, the scenes that he was familiar with appeared one after another. Every single one of them left him speechless. He knew the cultivation system of Heaven's mandate, but the battle prowess that appeared in the light screen had already exceeded that system. Along the way, Lin Ray knew that the man who looked down on the world and slaughtered everyone was him. My name is Lin Ray. Follow me, and I can make the Qilin clan rise to the apex of the Saints' world once more. All races will worship you, and your clan will return to its former peak. How about it, Lin Ray? The man on the light screen finally said his name. This time, Lin Ray completely understood. That's right, Lin Ray. He was Lin Ray. Lin Ray was him. He was Lin Ray. He was a saint. Boom! As soon as these words came out, a rumbling sound could be heard. Instantly, one memory after another flooded into Linley's mind. Arg! A miserable cry rang out from Lin Ray's mouth. In the next moment, Lin Ray fainted. Sigh, he really is weak. I never thought that he would faint after just receiving a small portion of Emperor Huang's memories. At this moment, while Lin Ray was unconscious, Lin Ray appeared beside him. Looking at him, a sliver of helplessness flashed through his eyes. Chapter 1009. In the blink of an eye, Linley had been in a coma for 8 years. His originally tall stature had grown a bit in these 8 years, but not by much. After all, he had been lying in bed for 8 years and could only eat liquid food for 8 years. Furthermore, he had not been forced to eat. Otherwise, even a martial general would have starved to death in 8 years. In these 8 years, many things had happened in the Yin country, especially the Lin family. Originally, the Lin family was a powerful family in the Yin country. However, because of Lin Ray's coma and the invasion of the neighboring countries, 3 of the 4 sons of the Lin family died on the battlefield, including Lin Ray's father, Lin Feng. In the entire Lin family, only C was left. Most importantly, in the entire Lin family, only Lin Ray was the direct descendant. Coincidentally, Lin Ray had been in a coma for 8 years, and this had become the Lin family's weakness. The overall strength of the Lin family had declined, and the old man's health was deteriorating day by day. He was sad about his son's death and worried about his grandson's coma. His life was very difficult. In comparison, the Yin Kingdom royalty discriminated against the Lin family. What was the use of a general's family that was useless to the country? If they wanted to use this to nurture a family, they could use the Lin family as a springboard. Just like that, with the matter of the Fire Country's imperial family, all the big and small family clans in the Fire Country began to create all kinds of difficulties for the Lin family, regardless whether it was in the military or in the business world, which made the Lin family feel highly helpless and depressed. At the same time, they were bitterly disappointed by these ingrates. When the Lin family was doing well, they were eager to curry favor with them. Now that the Lin family was in trouble, they wanted to step forward and trample on them. No one wanted to give up such an opportunity. In these 8 years, Lin Ray did not wake up. His condition was the same as before, and he was sweating profusely. My son, when will you wake up? Your mother misses you. Hui Yun looked to her son who was lying on the bed. She was unable to stop her tears from flowing down. At this moment, Hui Yun's appearance was completely different from 8 years ago. She had changed a lot. 8 years ago, Hui Yun was one of the top beauties. Even if she was not devastatingly beautiful, she was still very beautiful. But now, half of her hair had turned white, and her face was ashen. Her entire person was filled with sorrow. Sigh, your father has passed away. Mother is only left with you. If you also pass away, then what should I do? Madam, don't be like this. Isn't Big Brother Lin Ray fine? Furthermore, you must believe that Big Brother Lin Ray will wake up one day. A girl comforted Hui Yun with her eyes looking forward. Hearing this, Hui Yun wiped away the tears on her face. She looked at the girl and nodded. Sigh, Yunshi, it's been hard on you all these years. You can't see to begin with, yet you still have to accompany Ray. Truly, a hint of guilt emerged. The girl was none other than the Gu family's brother and sister, Gu Yunshi, who had been brought back to the Lin family. When she was brought back to the Lin family, she was arranged to stay by Lin Ray's side. It was not for any other reason, but because she was afraid of being bored, she wanted someone to talk to. Originally, she thought that Lin Ray would wake up after a short period of time. Who would have thought that it would take 8 years? As for Gu Yunshi's brother, Gu Jun, she was arranged to stay in the military camp. After 8 years of nurturing by the Lin family, Gu Jun had already made a name for himself in the military camp. Now, he was even accepted as a deputy general by Si Lin Ji. In comparison, the Gu family's brother and sister were especially grateful to Lin Ray. If it wasn't for him, the two of them would have either starved to death, frozen to death, or been beaten to death by others. In any case, their ending wouldn't have been as good as it was now. Madam, I'm not suffering. Hearing Hoi Yun's words, Yunshi hurriedly shook her head and waved her hands. If it wasn't for Big Brother Lin Ray back then, I don't know how my life would have been like with Big Brother. Now that Big Brother is reporting on his work in the military camp, and I don't have to worry about food and clothing, we siblings are content. As for accompanying Big Brother Lin Ray, I'm willing to do it. I sincerely hope that Big Brother Lin Ray will wake up soon. Yeah, I hope so. Hoi Yun's expression darkened. Although she said this, she didn't have any hope that her son would wake up. It had been 8 years. 8 years without any movement. She didn't think that after 8 years, he would suddenly wake up one day. If that happened, she was willing to shorten her lifespan by 20 years. Okay, you can go back in a bit. I'll go take a look at the front hall. I heard that the old man from the Huangfu family came today. I'll go take a look. Okay, madam. Yunshi nodded obediently and didn't say anything else. Seeing Yunshi being so obedient, Hui Yun felt guilty. She didn't think about it anymore, shook her head, and left Lin Ray's room. In the space, a young man was lying on the ground. His whole body was surrounded by a purple aura. His aura was stable, and there wasn't the slightest bit of weakness. What was strange was that there was another young man beside the young man. The two of them looked very similar. Of course, apart from the slightly different aura, they were the same person. Looking at the person lying on the ground, Linley couldn't help but laugh bitterly to himself. 8 years. I really didn't expect that it would take you 8 years to digest a bit of yours truly memories. If I had known, I would have told you to improve your physique first. Perhaps you would have finished in 3 days. The young man on the ground was none other than Lin Ray, who had been asleep for 8 years. As for the young man beside him, he was the sage Lin Ray. 8 years. It's time to wake up. Looking at little Linley waved his hand, and an indistinct stream of violet energy surged into little Linley's mind. The moment the purple aura entered Lin Ray's mind, Lin Ray let out a soft groan. His fingers, which had been stiff for 8 years, moved a little. Ah, you're finally awake. I was thinking that if you didn't wake up, I would have used force. Seeing that Lin Ray had woken up, the original gloomy expression disappeared. In the blink of an eye, an hour passed. Little Linley, lying on the ground, had completely awakened. He opened his eyes, and a light flashed through his eyes. He didn't look at all like someone who had been asleep for 8 years. Phew! He let out a long breath, and his face was filled with excitement and a smile. Finally, I finally fused with those memories. I didn't expect there to be a higher realm than the martial god. Linley couldn't help but sigh. Thinking back to the memories he had fused, Linley realized that the destiny world he was in was nothing more than a minor plane. The outside world was so vast that any tribulation transcendence cultivator could easily destroy the entire destiny world. TC's martial god? Don't joke around, child. The martial god is nothing. Back when we were saints, we could crush the martial god with a casual whistle. The martial god, a voice filled with disdain rang out from the side. Hearing this voice, little Linley was startled. He turned his head to look, and when it was Linley's turn, little Linley came back to his senses. He understood that the Linley in front of him was himself, and he was the young man in front of him. However, he didn't know why he was like this from the memories. He didn't understand why he was like this. I was too rash. Lin Ray nodded and patted the dust off his body. He stretched his body that hadn't moved for a long time. Suddenly, the sound of bones cracking echoed in the room. All right, don't be rash. You should hurry up and improve your strength. Looking at Lin Ray said, only when you're strong enough will you be able to receive more of the Emperor's memories. Remember, this is only the beginning. All right, you have been here for 8 years. Many things have happened in your family during the 8th grade. You should hurry up and go back. However, even so, you can't neglect your cultivation. If you neglect your cultivation, you can forget about returning to the sage realm in this lifetime. No way. His eyes widened in disbelief. 8 years. He didn't expect that he would sleep for 8 years. Home? What happened at home? Lin Ray felt a sense of urgency to go home. Yes. He nodded at Lin Ray. With a thought, his soul returned. Lin Ray, who had been lying on the bed for 8 years, didn't move at all. Not long after Lin Ray's soul returned, his tightly closed eyes opened. Phew, 8 years. I didn't expect that I would sleep for 8 years. He opened his eyes and looked at his familiar surroundings. He knew that he had returned home. He sighed and scanned his surroundings. A sense of familiarity welled up in his heart. I am back. After the memory fusion, it could be said that half of Lin Ray was the original Lin Ray. The little dragon would be very shocked if it knew that Lin Ray could recover his memories so quickly. One had to know that his memories were sealed by the system. Now that a part of his memories had been unlocked, how could the little dragon not be shocked? TSK. The spirit energy in this world is really very impure. If I want to raise my cultivation level beyond this plane, I'm afraid that the spirit energy in this entire plane is not enough. Lin Ray wasn't joking about this. If it was an ordinary cultivator, perhaps it wouldn't be enough. Unfortunately, this person was Lin Ray. In particular, Lin Ray cultivated the chaotic heaven scripture. It was several times, or even dozens of times more difficult to cultivate than ordinary cultivators. Sigh, it seems that the price to cultivate back to the peak is not small. Thinking about the purity of the spirit energy required to cultivate the chaotic heaven scripture, Lin Ray had a headache. Forget it. I'd better cultivate for a while first. At the very least, I need to have the strength to protect myself. Otherwise, I'll be killed before I can leave, let alone leave. With that thought, Lin Ray didn't waste time. He got up and sat cross-legged on the bed. He silently recited the first move of the chaotic heaven scripture and began to cultivate. Boom! Linley, who had entered a state of cultivation, didn't notice that as soon as he began to circulate his cultivation technique, all the spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 kilometers was instantly sucked dry and absorbed into Linley's body. It's not enough. There are too many impurities. There's basically nothing left after compressing it. In the eyes of the cultivators on the Tianming continent, the spirit energy within a radius of 10,000 miles could be said to be enormous. However, in Lin Ray's eyes, it was only a little bit. It wasn't even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. Boom! A crisp cracking sound rang out from Lin Ray's body. The sound wasn't loud, but it was as if the heavenly thunder from the 9th heaven had struck his heart. First layer of body tempering. Feeling the changes in his body, Lin Ray's face revealed a smile. So smelly. Just as Lin Ray was feeling happy, a foul stench entered Lin Ray's nose. Looking for the source of the stench, Lin Ray saw a layer of black substance on the surface of his body. Only then did Lin Ray remember that the first layer of body tempering was enough to cleanse the body of impurities and toxins. Of course, it wasn't all of them. The entire body tempering stage was set up to cleanse the body of impurities in preparation for entering the chi refining stage. No, I can't take it anymore. Smelling the foul stench coming from his body, Lin Ray was simply about to go crazy. Whoosh, a black shadow quickly rushed out and arrived in front of the courtyard's lake. Without stopping, it fiercely dived into the lake. Oh my God, I finally feel good. Seeing that the impurities and toxins on the surface of his body had been cleansed, Lin Ray suddenly felt refreshed. Brother Lin, actually I didn't come here for anything else. In the front courtyard's hall, an old man cupped his hands towards Master Lin and said, "Do you still remember the marriage agreement we made?" Eh. Hearing these words, a trace of coldness flashed through his eyes. At this moment, the old man seemed to have sensed something, but he didn't dare to think about it. He didn't dare to imagine that his once good brother would be like other people, kicking and stabbing the Lin family in their most difficult time. Of course, things often go against one's wishes. The more you don't want things to go this way, the more they go this way. A few days ago, an elder of the Sword Sect passed by the Huangfu family and took a fancy to Jing. He wanted Jing to enter the Sword Sect to cultivate, but I don't know where the elder heard about Jing's marriage agreement. Saying this, the old man paused for a moment, then continued. You also know that it's very difficult to enter the Sword Sect, so the Huangfu family didn't want to give up this opportunity. Of course, the most important thing is that Jing doesn't want to give up, so the Sword Sect elder sent this old man here to discuss the marriage agreement. Enough, you don't need to say any more. Without waiting for the old man to finish speaking, Master Lin cut him off. He already knew the rest of the story. Looking at his former brother, Master Lin's body couldn't help but tremble. It wasn't excitement, it was heartache, it was confusion, and it was a hallucination. He wondered if he had ever known this person in front of him. Seeing Master Lin's pale face, the old man from Huangfu couldn't bear to see it, but when he thought about the Lin family's current status and Lin Ray's coma, that trace of pity disappeared. He raised his head and said forcefully, "How about it? I wonder if this marriage agreement between our two families." At this moment, Huiyun, who had been trying her best to control herself, couldn't hold it in anymore. Are you guys kidding me? Back when the Lin family was flourishing and Ray was in a coma, why didn't your Huangfu family cancel the marriage agreement? Oh, now that the Lin family has declined, your Huangfu family is really something, directly stabbing my Lin family in the back. Do you know what the consequences will be if this gets out? Sir, if you do this, what will happen to my Ray? What will the outside world think of my Ray? Also, if you do this, where will the dignity of the Lin family be? Chapter 10:10. Huiyun's words pierced the old man's heart and Master Lin's heart. What Huiyun said was exactly what Master Lin wanted to consider. After all, the Lin family was no longer the same as before. Ruo Lin's family was still at its peak. He didn't even blink when he heard that the old man from Huangfu wanted to break off the engagement. But it was different now. The Lin family was besieged on all sides. Now, the entire Yin country was waiting for something to happen to the Lin family, and he was more concerned about his grandson, Lin Ray. Fortunately, he still had the ability to protect his grandson, who was in a coma. If he went, the Lin family... At that time, whether or not there would still be a Lin clan was one thing. If that was the case, where would Linli go? Where would the entire Lin clan go? These were all questions that old Master Lin had to consider. On the side, the old man from Huangfu listened to Huiyun's words. His expression was extremely ugly. He glared at Huiyun fiercely. Ruo Lin's grandfather was not here. Huiyun was in trouble. Looking at Huiyun, the old man from Huangfu gritted his teeth and said, "You're wrong to say that. I'm also telling the truth. Your grandson from the Lin family, Lin Ray, is still in a coma. You're so easygoing to marry my Jing. Aren't you making my Jing a widow? Moreover, the Sword Sect is now interested in my Jing's talent. Old brother, tell me, would I give up such an opportunity? Would the Huangfu family give up? Would Jing give up? So you're determined to break off the engagement, right?" Seeing his former brother like this, Master Lin was relieved. So be it. At most, he would leave the Yin country and live in seclusion. That's right. Sigh. Looking at the old man from Huangfu, Master Lin sighed. A trace of sadness appeared on his face as he opened his mouth. If that's the case, then, what arrogance. Even the emperor hasn't said anything. How dare an old man like you come to my Lin family to break off the engagement? Do you really think the emperor is dead? Suddenly, a voice was thrown into the hall like a nuclear bomb, causing a huge commotion. Emperor? Who is so generous? Are you not afraid of being hunted down by the Yin country and the Empire? Huangfu's eyes lit up when he heard this voice. He originally wanted to find a reason to make a move on the Lin family. Now that the opportunity was in front of him, it would be a waste if he didn't seize it. Of course, Master Lin, Huiyun, and the others didn't think the same as Huangfu. At this moment, they just wanted to know who it was. Who was so shamelessly boasting? Moreover, the meaning behind his words was that he was protecting the Lin family. Old Master Lin tried to recall this voice for a very long time. Unfortunately, he couldn't find a voice that matched it no matter how hard he searched through his entire life's memories. With doubts, everyone in the hall looked at the door. They didn't even blink. They wanted to see why the person who called himself emperor was here. The Empire? Yin country? A disdainful voice came from the door. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of everyone. He was dressed in luxurious clothes and looked very noble. You are? Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared, Master Lin couldn't help but ask. On the side, Huiyun looked at the figure who suddenly appeared in front of her and was startled. A sense of familiarity welled up in her heart. Why does he look so familiar? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Huiyun wasn't the only one who had this thought. Master Lin also had this thought. It was just that they didn't dare to recognize him before confirming who he was. The young man's figure completely appeared in front of everyone. He ignored Huangfu and directly walked in front of Huiyun. Without saying anything, he directly knelt on the ground and loudly said, "Mother above, son Lin Ray pays his respects. Grandfather above, grandson Lin Ray pays his respects." Without waiting for anyone to react, Lin Ray bowed one by one and then turned to look at the old man on Huangfu. A trace of disdain flashed in his eyes as he coldly said, "You're the one who wants to break off the engagement." "You are?" Hearing the young man's question, old man Huangfu was confused. What was going on? Who was he? Where was he? What was he doing? The question was written all over his face. The Lin family. Lin Ray, the fiancé of the Jing you speak of. Oh yes, the ex-fiancé. After all, the Jing you speak of has already been divorced by the emperor. What? You? No, you're Lin Ray, the Lin family kid who has been in a coma for 8 years. When he heard Lin Ray's words, the old man on Huangfu was very angry. However, although he was angry, he didn't lose his mind. He quickly realized something and looked at Lin Ray with confusion and shock. He stared fixedly at Linley, as though trying to figure out from Linley whether or not he was telling the truth. Unfortunately, Lin Ray's body was shrouded in mystery and fog. It was as if he wasn't facing a kid who had just woken up, but a person in a high position. At first, the old man on Huangfu didn't believe it, but the more he looked, the more shocked he became. How is this possible? Why is this kid giving me such a feeling? It shouldn't be. Also, why didn't anyone tell me that Lin Ray woke up? Along with the shock, one question after another appeared. In the Lin family, he had spies in the Huangfu family. However, he hadn't heard anything about this. How could he not be shocked? He was even a little scared. Ray? Ray? You're Ray? No, impossible. I just came out of Ray's room. How is this possible? At this moment, everyone in the Lin family recovered from their shock. Huiyun was filled with shock and disbelief. She had just come out of her son's room. At that time, Lin Ray didn't show any signs of recovery. Only an hour had passed. Now, a person who claimed to be her son was standing in front of her. As a mother, how could she believe this? Although she really hoped that her son could wake up, Lin Ray had survived on liquid food for 8 years. He was short and his skin was yellow. He didn't match the young man with snow-white skin in front of her at all. It could even be said that they were worlds apart. However, this was only what Huiyun thought. Master Lin didn't think so. Looking at the young man in front of him, his intuition told him that the person in front of him was his grandson, the grandson who had been in a coma for 8 years. Looking at Lin Ray, Master Lin's bright eyes became cloudy. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. As the saying goes, men don't cry easily. It's only because they haven't been deeply hurt. At this moment, Master Lin's tears were tears of happiness. He had already determined that the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him was his grandson, Lin Ray. There was no doubt about it. Ray, Grandpa missed you so much. Grandpa. Turning around, Lin Ray looked at his tear-streaked grandfather. His eyes were moist. He understood that in the 8 years he was in a coma, the Lin family had suffered. It's Ray. It's really Ray. The heavens don't disappoint those who wait. My Ray has finally recovered. Perhaps it was because he was excited or because he wanted to announce it to the world, but a voice filled with vitality resounded through the entire Lin province and even the entire Lin city. At this moment, the entire Lin province and even the entire Lin city was in chaos. Information from various clans began to spread. However, Master Lin didn't stop them. At this moment, how could he care about these small fries? Seeing his grandfather like this, Lin Ray's heart clenched. He hurriedly suppressed his emotions. Grandpa, let me deal with the matter at hand first. Let's talk later. After saying that, he turned around and looked at the old man from Huangfu again. Looking at him, Lin Ray didn't hold back at all. You have 2 options, scram or die. Which one do you choose? Everyone, in the eyes of everyone, Lin Ray's words were just self-deception. How could a martial cultivator kill a person who had been in a coma for 8 years? Even Master Lin thought so. He had some understanding of his brother's cultivation. Although he wasn't a match for him, he was at least at the early stage of the martial general realm. Even if he wanted to kill someone with such a cultivation, it would take some effort. Ray, don't worry about this matter. Let the old man deal with it. Hurry up and let me take a look. At this moment, Hui Yun's voice rang out. No need. Lin Ray didn't turn around. He directly rejected Hui Yun's words. If Lin Ray hadn't recovered his memories, he probably wouldn't have hesitated. However now, even if a martial emperor came, Lin Ray wouldn't be afraid, let alone a martial general. However, he couldn't imagine the price he would have to pay to kill a martial emperor realm cultivator. After rejecting Hui Yun, he looked at the old man from Huangfu and said, So, have you thought about it? Are you going to scram or die? This time, the crowd didn't think that Lin Ray was joking. TSK, I really don't know where you get your confidence from. Do you think you can kill me? A trace of disdain flashed across his face. Not to mention you, even your grandfather would have to spend some time to kill me. What's more, you're just an ordinary person with no cultivation at all. Lin Ray raised his hand and picked his ear in response to the old man from Huangfu's incessant chatter. He said impatiently, Really? Why are you so noisy? You're making me uncomfortable. But since you're not going to choose, then I will choose for you. It's a good opportunity to show the other clans who are itching to make a move. Although our Lin family has been defeated, we are still not a family that any of you can touch, not even the Yin country's imperial family. Boom! Suddenly, an invisible aura of disdain emerged from Lin Ray's body. Anyone who knew Lin Ray would know that he was serious. It must be understood that, generally speaking, when Lin Li got serious, people would die. Heck, kid, you're so young, yet you talk big. Do you think the current Lin family can go against the imperial family? Even when the Lin family was at their peak, they couldn't compete with the imperial family. Do you think you can? My mouth is dry. Lin Ray moved. He didn't want to waste any more time. He disappeared in a flash. How is this possible? Lin Ray's sudden disappearance shocked everyone, including the Lin family. Where'd he go? Lin Ray's disappearance made the old man from Huangfu feel even more pressured. He looked around as if he wanted to find Lin Ray's trace. After a while, the Huangfu could only end in failure. He couldn't find any trace of Lin Ray at all. This is impossible. How can I not find him? How is this possible? He panicked. He couldn't find Lin Ray's trace at all. This was a big taboo in battle. How is this possible? When did Lei start cultivating? Why is it that even I am unable to find any traces of Lei? Seeing his grandson like this, old Master Lin was filled with doubt other than shock. Just as everyone was confused, Lin Ray's mocking voice rang out. You dare to behave atrociously in my Lin family with this little bit of strength? Do you really think my Lin family is a pushover? Found him. Lin Ray spoke. You, who had been searching for Lin Ray, finally found his voice. His sword seemed to be able to cut through the sky. It was extremely frightening. Is it useful? Lin Ray, who was invisible, looked at the old man from Huangfu. He was using the technique left behind by his ancestors. Suddenly, Lin Ray, who was invisible, acted like this, the first style of stellar finger, a finger pointing at heaven and earth. In an instant, Lin Ray's left hand found a good opportunity. Although you think this is ridiculous, it's true. Lin Ray's figure appeared after the stellar finger was used. His clone didn't have any expression on his face, and he didn't know anything about his surroundings. This time, the war has been completely brought about by Lin Li. As the person who was starving this bear, he was afraid that the wolf would drag him away. Bang! I've also carefully studied the stellar finger and its success. Boom! Then Shernong Tsai said, You must take a fancy to Beijing. You see, King Gong, we hit you. God Realm. In one of the secret realms of the Xuanzong Sect, Shadow and Ice went into seclusion to cultivate after returning to the sect. TSK. They said that they shouldn't do anything unless they were tired. In the midst of adversity, Shadow, who was deep in cultivation, suddenly opened her eyes. A golden light flashed, and a smile appeared on her originally expressionless face. Husband, is that you? Husband, is that you? Just a moment ago, Shadow, who was cultivating, suddenly felt the activation of her husband's martial arts. In addition, the two of them had a contract. However, there wasn't the time to talk about this. That's right, the book just now was too good. Shadow didn't check it out before buying the book. He didn't know about this. He only knew that he wouldn't let the Xuanzong sect get hurt. This was his promise to Lin Ray, and also his goal. Okay, I understand. I hope that when the time comes, Jiao-un won't go back on his word. In a heavenly fate space, old man Huangfu was already lying on his bed, not moving at all. In the room, Lin Ray was very confused. He didn't understand what he was trying to do with the part of his memory that hadn't recovered. Lin Ray, just do what you want. Pooh! Huangfu coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his face instantly turned pale. He flew back 1,000 meters before he managed to stop himself. When he finally stopped, he felt as if all the bones in his body had fallen apart, and the pain was unbearable. Ah! The old man in Huangfu screamed. His face was pale. If Knight saw this, he would have thought that he had seen a ghost. How is this possible? How can you be so strong? With shock and fear, he raised his head and stared at Lin Ray. He didn't expect Lin Ray to be so strong. He was so strong that he felt like he couldn't resist. Chapter 10-11. This is Ray. Master Lin and the rest of the Lin family were shocked by the scene in front of them. He understood Huangfu's strength, but now he was defeated by his grandson in one move. Even he would not be able to do this. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at his grandson. His expression was a mixture of surprise, shock, excitement, and worry. After all, with the Lin family's current situation, for such a powerful cultivator to suddenly appear, it was not something that the Fire Country's imperial family or any of the other great family clans would want to see. As the saying goes, everyone kicks a man who is down. Now that the Lin family had declined, it had aroused the ambitions of the other great families. At this crucial time, a cultivator suddenly appeared from the sky to help the Lin family. This was not only not a blessing for the Lin family, but it also pushed the Lin family into the teeth of the storm. Ignoring everyone's shock, he slowly walked towards Huangfu's old man. Surprised, aren't you? Are you regretting it? Are you thinking that the emperor will never wake up and that the Lin family has declined, so you want to ruthlessly trample on them to show the strength of your Huangfu family? Are you thinking that your Jing is very powerful after entering the Sword Sect? Every word hit the heart. Lin Ray's words were exactly what Huangfu was thinking. After being defeated by Lin Ray, he regretted it. Ah, regret is useless. Whether or not you came to the Lin family to cancel the engagement, or whether or not the Lin family has declined, the emperor will not marry Huangfu Jing. WHY? Towards Lin Li's words, Huang Fu was a little puzzled. In the entire fire country, his granddaughter might not be the most beautiful, but she was still devastatingly beautiful with limitless charm. And Linley had just said such a thing. In his heart, he felt that Lin Rei must be lying. Huang Fu admitted that Lin Rei was very powerful, but with the current situation of the Lin family, only a marriage alliance with the Huang Fu family was the best choice. Of course, this was only Huang Fu's wishful thinking, and this was only after seeing how powerful Lin Rei was. Seeing Huang Fu's change of expression, Lin Rei could tell a glance. He sneered. TSK, TSK. Actually, you're thinking too much. Huang Fu was stunned. Do you think I care about a marriage alliance or the current power of the Huang Fu family? Huang Fu was shocked. Astonishment. Huang Fu was extremely astonished. Seeing Linley speak his thoughts aloud, he was even more astonished. He hadn't expected that Linley would be able to understand him with just a glance. Sigh. He sighed and changed his expression. His expression became cold and emotionless. Do you know that in the eyes of the emperor, your Huang Fu family is just an ant? Oh, that's not right. In the eyes of the emperor, even an ant is stronger than your Huang Fu family. In the entire Tianming plain, there is no one that can catch the eyes of the emperor. Do you know why? At this moment, everyone's gaze gathered on Lin Rei. They were very curious. Because your horizons are too low. You don't know that there are 3,000 great Daos, and there are millions of great worlds. Of course, in your eyes, the Tianming plain might be very big, but Lin Rei looked up with disdain. In the eyes of the emperor, the Tianming plain is just a step away. You're talking nonsense. Huang Fu didn't believe him. Even Master Lin didn't believe him. But since it was his grandson who said it, he didn't dare to refute him. I'm talking nonsense. Looking at Huang Fu, Lin Rei's emotionless expression made him tremble. The Tianming plain is just a backward plane in the corner of the universe. It's a plane that no one cares about. Even the lowest level cultivators of the cultivation world wouldn't care about this plane. I'm afraid only the natives here would think it's big. Although Huang Fu didn't believe him, seeing how serious Lin Rei was, he vaguely believed him. Not only Huang Fu, but even the Lin family started to believe Lin Rei's words. All right, I've told you too much today. It's already beyond what this plane knows. Finally, Lin Rei came to Huang Fu's side with killing intent. You want to kill me? Sensing that terrifying killing intent emanating from Linley's body, Huang Fu was afraid. He suddenly realized how laughable his previous thoughts had been. I have no choice. Who told you to know so much? If I don't kill you, I won't be able to keep this secret. He was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Lin Rei to be so shameless. You said it yourself. I didn't force you. Even if I don't care, I only know that you know this secret. So die. Saying that, he raised his hand and used the astral finger on Huang Fu's head. Aren't you afraid of Huang Fu's revenge? This was the first time he felt death was so close to him, but he didn't want to die. Before he died, he didn't forget to use his family as a bargaining chip to threaten Lin Rei. Yes, in midair, Lin Rei's hand stopped. He muttered to himself for a moment. Then a bloodthirsty expression appeared on his face. Huang Fu's family is indeed troublesome, but if they want to die, I don't mind exterminating the entire Huang Fu family. Also, as long as it's related to the Huang Fu family, the emperor will not let it go. This is also good for the Lin family. What do you think? He was dumbfounded. This was completely different for what he expected. He thought that using the Huang Fu family to pressure Lin Fan would at least save his life. But now, not only did he fail to save his life, but he also provoked Lin Rei's killing intent. He regretted it. Don't worry. Go. In the next moment, Lin Rei didn't stop. He used the astral finger and aimed it at Huang Fu's head. Crack! The sound of bones shattering echoed throughout the entire area. Hearing this sound, everyone present, aside from Linley, was stunned. He died just like that. In the distance, Master Lin couldn't believe his eyes as he looked at the corpse lying on the ground. An early-stage martial general cultivator had been killed by his own grandson in a single move. It's finally peaceful. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Lin Ray didn't have the slightest bit of pity. There was only endless coldness, especially in his emotionless eyes. Huiyin looked at her son's expression. For the first time, she felt like her son was a stranger. What's going on? Why is Ray so heartless? His emotionless eyes made her feel fear. It was as if her soul would be destroyed with a single glance. Whoosh! Lin Fan didn't feel the strange expressions of his family members behind him. He casually threw a fireball at Huang Fu's corpse. In an instant, the corpse turned into ashes and disappeared in front of everyone's eyes as if it had never existed. This shock. The Lin family members were shocked once again. Although there was a world of cultivation in Tianming, they only cultivated the martial Dao. They had never seen such a miraculous scene before, especially when this kind of ability was used by someone who had been unconscious for 8 years. This kind of shock made them feel as if their worldview had been turned upside down. At this moment, Lin Ray, who had finished dealing with everything, finally had time to talk to his family. When he turned around and his gaze fell on his family members, he was stunned. At this moment, the Lin family members were looking at him in shock. Their gazes were filled with confusion. What are you guys doing? That son, just now you were? Lin Ray's words woke everyone up. The first to speak was Huiyin. Just now? Hearing this, Lin Ray was confused. However, in the next moment, Lin Ray understood what Huiyin was talking about. As for his own family, Lin Ray had never thought of lying to them. It was not for anything else, but because he had enough strength to protect the Lin family. His eyes swept around. At this moment, Lin Ray's emotionless eyes had disappeared and were replaced with gentleness and warmth. You guys heard it just now. Yes, we heard it. Looking at everyone, Lin Ray said seriously, well, do you guys think that what I said just now was nonsense? Seeing everyone's reaction, Lin Ray understood what they were thinking. Lin Ray did not feel anything about this phenomenon. After all, in this sealed world, it was normal not to know these things. What I said before was true. This world is very big, so big that it is beyond your imagination. Also, what I said before about the Tianming plain being just a last day's plain was also true. What you guys cultivate here is only the martial Dao. Even if you cultivate to the level of martial God in your consciousness, in other planes, I am at most the most basic nascent soul realm. How is this possible? Although they still did not want to believe it, when they thought of the scene where Lin Ray released a fireball out of thin air and made a corpse disappear in an instant, they believed it. Nothing is impossible. Looking at everyone, Lin Ray smiled. This world is far from being as simple as you think. Martial God? Your cultivation is too low. This Tianming plane basically has no spiritual energy for cultivators to cultivate. After saying that, he raised his hand and used the devouring heaven art. A devouring vortex appeared, and the spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles was instantly sucked dry. A green ball of air appeared in Lin Ray's hand. Do you see this? This is the spiritual energy I'm talking about. What you need to cultivate is just a little bit of power released from this. It's no exaggeration to say that if I wanted to, all the spirit chi in the heaven's mandate plane would disappear into my body in half a day. However, the cultivators in the heaven's mandate plane wouldn't even be able to survive, let alone cultivate. Even if all the spiritual energy in the Tianming plane enters my body, I will only be able to break through to the foundation establishment realm at most. After saying that, Lin Ray did not speak again. It was not that he did not want to continue, but he felt that it would take a while for them to digest what he had said just now. At this moment, something surged in his heart. He looked up at his white-haired mother and fell heartache. He understood that this was caused by the loss of her husband and his previous coma. Although I have not yet recovered to the saint realm, I am still somewhat useful to the ruler of this plane. With that thought, Lin Ray looked up at the sky and used the heaven-piercing eye. Lin Ray's light voice came out of his mouth. Tendo, appear before the Emperor in 3 breaths. Otherwise, the Emperor does not mind shattering the Tianming plane. It does not matter to me whether this plane exists or not. However, it is not certain for you. You have to think carefully. The Emperor definitely has the strength to do so. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the Lin clan was stunned once more. Lin Li had already given them far too many surprises today, to the point where they were numb to them. That's too much. Just as everyone was puzzled, an angry voice sounded. In the next moment, a young man in a Taoist robe appeared in front of Lin Ray out of thin air. Seeing the young man appear out of thin air, everyone's pupils shrank and instinctively became alert. Very good. Seeing the young man's appearance, Lin Ray was not surprised. This was all within his expectations. Looking at the young man, Lin Ray's pupil shrank. He said in surprise, I did not expect that the dignified Tendo of this plane would only be an Earth immortal. It seems that the Emperor still underestimated the backwardness and isolation of this plane. Looking at Lin Ray, although Tendo did not know who Lin Ray was, he could not afford to offend someone who could recognize his identity and existence at a glance. At the very least, such a person had never appeared in this plane. In that case, a possibility appeared in Tendo's mind. You are not from the Destiny plane. Who are you? Oh, you are not that stupid. However, there is no reward for you. Looking at Tendo, Lin Ray joked. As expected, Lin Li's words confirmed the suspicions of the wielder of the Heaven's Will. However, the problem was, why hadn't he sensed Lin Li's arrival? As the wielder of the Heaven's Will of a plane, there was no way he wouldn't know if someone had entered his territory, but now. All right, let's talk about this later. Seeing that the matter was getting further and further away from what he wanted to ask, Lin Ray quickly stopped him and pulled the matter back to the main point. Today, the Emperor summoned you for no other reason than to help me find the souls of 3 people. What? 3? This is impossible. The matter of souls can be big or small. If I do this, the trajectory of the Destiny plane will be affected. You refuse? Seeing that his matter was rejected, Lin Ray's originally gentle expression instantly turned cold. Do you think I am negotiating with you? Feeling the coldness, Tendo subconsciously took a step back. He did not expect the person in front of him to be so emotional. You should be glad that the Emperor's cultivation has not recovered yet. Otherwise, the Emperor would personally take action. At that time, it would not be as simple as finding 3 souls. I am afraid that the entire Destiny plane would collapse. Moreover, the entire Nine Nether would collapse because it could not withstand the Emperor's cultivation. I believe that you will not be able to see that scene. Moreover, do you think a mere Earth immortal like you can withstand the cultivation of a sage? Sage? You? How is that possible? As a Tendo of a plane, although the plane had declined and was in a state of seclusion, he was still aware of the realm of cultivation. He also understood what the word sage meant. He also understood that if a sage's cultivation was appropriate, not only him, but the entire Destiny plane would collapse in an instant. How is it? Do you have any more questions now? If you do, then the Emperor will not trouble you. After all, the Emperor does not like to force people. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.